It is do or die time for these two teams from the Pacific Conference. Kings 11 Dallas, home team from the Central Division, and the Silicon Valley Strikers from the Western Division. The team that loses this match has no chance of advancing to the final. So in essence, welcome to the first eliminator game of the minor league Super 8s. Both teams will be looking to hold on to their slim chance to advance to Morrisville this coming weekend, as it is the East Bay Blazers and Chicago Kingsmen who sit on top of the table in the Pacific Conference playoffs. Brian Walters with you. Go now down to the middle to Joe Hickey for the toss. Joe?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the center here at Grand Prairie Stadium. We've got the assembled important people, captains Corey Anderson and Raymond Reefer, match manager David White, and umpire Jermaine Lindo. We're going to be finding out how this game's going to start. Corey Anderson, you've got the coin. Ray, you got the call.
Heads.
Call is heads. Hit it. All right, Silicon Valley Strikers win the toss. And Ray, talk to me a little bit about the reason for what you've decided to do first. You said you're batting first, yes?
I just think up front, it's going to be probably better to bat up front, and then as the sun dries it out a little bit more, probably the ball grip a little bit more, so probably better for our spinners as well.
Okay, and you guys as a team generally batting first tend to be pretty successful, 3-1 on the season. That was the first total last night that you haven't defended. Any thoughts about any change in strategy, anything about the conditions today, or just kind of as you were?
Probably just a few parts of the game that we didn't play well. The power play, we probably only got 18 runs in that power play, so I thought that we were a little bit behind there. If we adjust that and do that a lot better today and set up the game properly, I think we'll be in good stead to win the game.
All right, and any changes to your squad for today?
Same 11 as yesterday.
All right, same 11. Corey Anderson, if we could borrow you for just a moment here as well. Captain of Kings 11. What would you have done this afternoon had you won the toss?
I was impartial. I don't really mind what we do, to be honest, on this wicket. It doesn't change a hell of a lot throughout the day. I think I'm now just getting used to the opposition captain just telling me exactly what we're going to do, because I can't win a toss. So, look, I'm happy to bowl. I think we've got a pretty good plan with that, and I think yesterday we held them to, I think, what was actually a good total, and we just kind of not capitulated with the bat. We just didn't do our job with the bat, and I think they were still probably 20 short. We just made it worse for ourselves. So hopefully today we can kind of, again, get a couple of poles early and make it a little bit easier on ourselves.
All right, any changes to your squad for today?
No, rolling out the same team.
Okay, so same teams coming out here in search of their first victory of this Super 8 phase. And the toss won by Silicon Valley Strikers. They will bat first.
So it is the Silicon Valley Strikers who have chosen, under brilliant conditions, to have a bat. Joe Hickey, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Brian. Glad to be back here. Phenomenal day of cricket yesterday, and looking forward to seeing the stakes rise just that extra notch today.
Boy, I tell you, one team either goes home or stays home, effectively, after today. The Kings 11 Dallas came in reputed to be a really strong batting side. I said it myself a number of times yesterday. Came up against the East Bay Blazers, who absolutely showed why they're the class bowling unit, as you see the batting unit for the Silicon Valley Strikers. What are you expecting from the top four here?
I would imagine here this top four, they're going to want to get off to a stronger start than yesterday. Adapali was dismissed early, and Yuvraj Samra made an immense mistake to get himself run out. But you see those next two, Shahan Jayasuriya, Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, not the first time yesterday that they've had to pull an early stumble out of the fire and build a big partnership. They managed to stall long enough to allow the likes of Reefer and Graham to come in a bit later. But good work and full credit to Chicago Kingsmen yesterday for holding them in check.
Absolutely. So I started talking about Kings 11 Dallas's batting unit. Won't see them for a while. Obviously, they're in the field right now. But when they bat, you know that they'll be under pressure. And whatever score the Kings or the Silicon Valley Strikers put up, they will be under pressure to keep that or to exceed that score, playing in home conditions, I think the pressure is squarely on their shoulders.
No doubt. Yesterday, I think we saw just a perfect example of the whole runs on the board thing in a final round in a playoff. The pressure certainly on. Chicago Kingsmen struggled to get over the line. Kings 11 at the end of the day just didn't accelerate in time to get there. And again, full credit to the Blazers for knocking out some of those middle order batters. A couple of reckless shots and a few wickets thrown away. We'll see if they're a little more conservative early on when they come out here for the chase.
Absolutely. So, as they've done for the most of the season, opening the bowling with the left-arm orthodox Obus Pinar, Yuvert Samra taking first strike. Electricity is in the air. First ball. Goes Yorker length. Bang on target. Interesting field, long off, and deep mid-wicket are the two outside the circle. Attacking field, that's Corey Anderson standing at first slip.
And we see a little bit of that borderline right arm medium or left arm medium pace out of Obus Pinar, flattening that one out and beating Yuvraj Samra for pace. That one thumping into the gloves of Andres House behind the wicket.
Interestingly, after that, they've immediately moved, or Corey Anderson's moved himself out of the slip position and gone to short cover. So the first run on the board here, do you think that that move makes sense? You want wickets up front, immediately going away from that slip position.
If you think that what Obus is offering isn't moving across the batter enough to create that edge, I think another catcher out in front, you figure that they're going to try and attack and push the ball into the V. I think just following what the deliveries seem that they're going to lead to.
Another thing that I noticed is that he's standing at first slip, Corey Anderson, but first slip for a spinner. Essentially, Obus is bowling medium pace. So maybe he thinks, you know what, if I'm going to be standing here, that ball will be flying in my direction, and I don't know that this is the safest place for me to be.
Well, additionally, against the right-hander, we've talked about the fact that Obus is generally bowling arm balls, not really getting that left-arm orthodox spin. So less likely he'd pick up the edge of Adapalli than he would of Samra working across him.
Oh my goodness, you'll get 4 runs here. Let's see what flavor of runs they end up being. He was beaten in the flight down the track. It is 4 byes, believe it or not. By definition, that is a mis-stumping. First over in the books, 5 without loss. Look at this replay when we get it. Comes dancing down the track. Oh, it's the arm ball that you mentioned, Joe Hickey. Going in with the arm, beating Andreas House to his left, and goes away for 4 byes. So the Yuvraj Samra to take first strike, at least to take strike. Interestingly here, it appears as though it will be Amshid De Silva who takes the new ball from the river end. So they've been going with the left arm pace of young Rishabh Shimpi, but it appears as though it will be Amshid De Silva who takes the new ball here.
Well, and De Silva, a phenomenal day yesterday. 3 wickets, took out Ganesh, Anji Pereira, and Abhishek Paradkar. Just 22 off of his 4 overs. He was a big part of reining in East Bay after that great start that they got off to in the power play.
It's an interesting move, and it makes you wonder what is the plan for Rishabh Shimpi. Do you just use him as an attack dog in the middle overs? Do you use him to try to blast out the tail when he comes in? Number of different options there. First one going down the leg side there, and that is going to be signaled wide by umpire Aditya Gajar. First one of those for the day.
Additionally, Yuvraj Samra this season pretty uncomfortable against righty pace. 73 strike rate and out every 7 balls. So this could be a move if you've seen a little bit of him, thinking that angle coming in or the seam cutting away might be a useful way of trying to get him to nick off.
First 2 deliveries for me are a little too straight. One adjudged to be wide and the other the leg by, targeting the pads. I don't know that the better option would not be to bring that outside edge of the bat into play here. Look again.
It just looks like something that needed to be started a bit further away. Definitely a bit of swing coming into the body of Sambra. That one started, it looked like, on a 3.5 stump line, and then found its way right into the edge of his leg pad.
So I said earlier, I said it very declaratively, but I'll ask it to you as a question. Which team has more pressure here, Kings 11 or Silicon Valley?
I think I'd have to go with Silicon Valley.
More pressure.
I would say so. I think the Strikers are coming off of a real roller coaster yesterday. Had to have thought they had that game locked up when Hassan Khan went out with 9 balls left. And so they are very suddenly thrust into the feeling of, oh, now I've got to play for my life, when I thought I was going to be up top and looking for a potential championship match against the East Bay Blazers on Thursday. Just a shock to the senses.
Runs this one down to deep third. Look at that effort in the deep. They'll get a couple of runs, but there definitely is 2 runs saved on the boundary. That does appear to be, I think, Unmuk Chan down there at deep third. 2 runs to the good. Going back to that we'll confirm the name of that fielder. Just Sanchit Sandhu. My apologies. Sanchit Sandhu. Well, they look, in my defense, they look exactly like. Look at this delivery again. Started. Look, he's getting swing. He's getting out swing to the right-hander. Here we see Sanchit Sandhu coming across. Excellent piece of fielding. And a similar delivery, similar result. This one a little bit finer, and it goes for 4.
And some excellent work so far here from Adapalli to use the swing. Just keep that bat flat and ready to push, open the face, and just help it along its way.
I'll tell you what, for more than one reason, as you see this delivery again, for more than one reason, I would strengthen that slip cordon. I'd put 1 additional fielder there, because with the ball moving in that direction, swinging away from the right-hander, number 1, it's a catching opportunity. Number 2, it's also a defensive move to keep the ball from racing down in that direction for 4.
Well, at the very least, they've moved him a touch wider here on this delivery.
Oh, my goodness. 3 straight balls, the exact same shot played to all 3. This one is well stopped for the reason that you highlighted, Joe Hickey. They moved the slip fielder just a touch wider.
Certainly, if that's what the ball's doing and that's what the batter's doing, you react. And right now, a spell a little on the metronomic side here from De Silva, just in terms of hitting that specific line and length and getting that motion away.
Boy, you got it too straight to the left-handed Yuvraj Samra, but every ball to Amag Aripale has been on the perfect line for me. 2 slip fielders now, exactly what I was calling for, and they will end up with a dot ball to close out over number 2. Interesting over, could have had at least 1 wicket. Good movement by the opening bowler, Amshi De Silva. 13 without loss after 2. Two overs in the books. Ladies and gentlemen, the commentary off the air is always better than the commentary on the air. Here with Joe Hickey. Joe Hickey, it's going to be Obas Pinar to bowl over number 3, his second, to the left-handed Yuvraj Samra. Gets 1 here. Little late on that shot. That delivery rushed him by Obas Pinar. And mid-off, or made that mid-on in position for the lefty. Now dropping back to long off for the right-handed Amag Aripale.
Yeah, that variation of pace from Obas, absolutely tying batters in knots.
I'll tell you what, that is an expertly played shot. Waited on it, opened the face, ran it behind backward point for 4.
It's been a little bit since we've gotten to see proper Labor Day weekend. Amo Garapali got off to a phenomenal start this year, and these are the sorts of shots that opened our eyes that weekend. Somebody who'd been in the youth setup in the East Bay Blazers for a couple of seasons, but had not sniffed the field here in minor league, and boy, is that gorgeous.
Absolutely luscious. Very little flourish, just opening the face, all timing, getting it in that gap behind point for 4. Pinching a single here. That's good work. You know, you mentioned earlier, off the air, we were talking about Adam Khan, who just fielded that ball. If you're Corey Anderson, how do you use Adam Khan today?
I mean, that's a tricky question. There are a lot of left-handed batters in this lineup, and I was surprised yesterday not to see them make use against a very right-hand-heavy lineup of the 2 leg spinners they had in there. There are going to be some stretches maybe where it's a pair of righties.
Hammered away. A lot of work in the deep. Oh, diving attempt. Not quite able to get to it. And it goes away for yet another boundary. That is, I believe, Saeed Malhotra out there who was not able to get to that one. 4 more runs.
Now, to the point earlier, I think there may be some stretches if Adapali sticks around for a while, but they are able to get through Jayasuriya and Samra. Maybe you get a spot in the middle where you can deploy some leg spin confidently, or if you think you can.
Oh my goodness, this one lands 5 rows back in the seats at mid-wicket. Yuvraj Samra announcing himself, 31 without loss after 3. Oh, maybe a little bit of a delay. No, in fact, the ball came back. But let's look at this again. Oh, way too straight. Cannot bowl that line at a left-hander's pads from over the wicket from a left-hander. That is asking for trouble with the ball slipping down leg side.
And one of the few misses we've really seen from Obas today or yesterday.
Oh, interesting. Oh, they're bowling another delivery here. Played straight, a dot ball. Both the score and I thought it was the end of the over. Umpires had a different opinion, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Dot ball closes things out. Now it really is 31 for 1 after, or 31 without loss after 3. So we are all in readiness after the scorecard, and scorekeeper and I both adjusted our appropriate calculations. The score is 29 without loss. But the bigger picture here, going at almost 10 runs and over to start this innings.
It'll be one right arm pacer out, the other one in. Sanchit Sandhu takes over at the river end. And back to our discussion of how to make use of the leggies. I think the thing you are targeting is if they can get Samra and Jayasuriya, you do have a potential stretch with Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, who I had forgotten as I was going through the lineup.
Sliced and taken. Straight to short third. The first wicket is down. 31, make that 29 for 1.
Well, and that'll certainly make it harder to deploy leg spin. Amo Garapali got off to a flourishing start, some delightful shot making, but this one here just not able to square it up, picks up an edge.
Yeah, pretty straightforward catch taken there at short third. Off the outside edge, we talked about the swing. You saw the swing from Amshi De Silva, Sanchit Sandhu getting the similar amount of swing, and that means that the outside edge is always in play, and that's why you have that wicket.
Well, and that's a different shot than we've seen Adapali playing to those sorts of swinging deliveries. Maybe a little bit wider, so he goes with a flash of the blade instead of more of that nudge to get it through the slip cordon. But a different strategy from him, and as a result, a very different result.
Oh, my goodness. So you take both leg spinners, you put them as far away from the ball as possible right now because you have 2 left-handers at the crease. You know what the man coming in, Shehan Jayasuriya, can do, and the other batter, Yuvraj Samra, you saw what he did in the last over. So this is time to have the ball essentially leaving the left-handers. You don't get that with spin.
And looking at the spin options available right now, you have Pinar, Khan, and Malhotra. I don't believe you have an off-spinner in there unless it's a part-timer. So likely to see a lot of pace.
Looking to attack here, though. First slip, in fact, a very wide slip, but it is clipped away to mid-wicket. 4-4. Cannot bowl at his pads, Joe Hickey.
Heck of a start from Jayasuriya. Somebody who's almost himself immediately. Hits about 16% of the deliveries he sees to the boundary, but it's 13% inside those first 5 balls. So he's somebody who right away, the same aggression you're going to see through the duration.
I'm speechless. Genuinely speechless at your range of knowledge as it comes to the most specific stats that you can come up with. It's a better deliver, played into the leg side. But even with the wickets, they're going at almost 10 runs and over. 31 runs on the, make that 34 runs on the board. Look at this again. That first delivery swinging into the pads of Shehan Jayasuriya. You cannot bowl there. That ball has to be, it's outside the line of off stump. And interesting, you've gone away from the slip because the ball is swinging into the left-handers, so no need to have a slip field if that's how the ball is going to be swinging. And you have a 5-4 field. 5 on the offside, 4 on the leg side. Interesting move now with Ali Sheikh now dropping back on the boundary at long on. And square leg coming around a lot squarer. Short third is now inside the circle. He was at deep third. Comes up inside with the power play still in position. Last 3 balls of the over coming up. Whipped away exactly where that fielder at square leg just came from. Amsha De Silva, had he been there, that would have been in his lap.
That's just mean-spirited by Yuvraj Samra there. But a ball that he absolutely could do that with, as we'll see Sandhu. Again, the swing taking it down behind his leg pad. And that is just begging for that treatment.
I believe that you used the phrase yesterday, a baseball phrase that is very apt. Hit it where they ain't. And part of being a good batter in cricket is exactly that. Looking at your field and then identifying your scoring opportunities. True, he was helped out in that direction or in that position with the ball swinging into his pads, making it an easier shot. Boy, it feels like things have started off on the wrong foot here for the Kings 11 Dallas side. That man at mid-off, Corey Anderson, has some thinking to do here.
On strikers this season, averaging 42 runs in their power plays. They've already got 38 on the board here. We're not even through over number 4.
Earlier, it was maybe 6 or so balls ago, I said it felt like they were in trouble, Kings 11 Dallas. Feels like you need a wicket very soon. This is an appeal. Umpire Aditya Gajjar thinks about it. To the naked eye, to me, that is bouncing high and maybe just a touch outside of missing off stump. So no dismissal here. Look at this replay. Tell me what you think.
Certainly in line, but absolutely high. Yuvraj Samra, pretty tall drink of water. And that gets him right up at the top of his front leg pad. So I think good call there by Aditya.
Certainly. But going at the rate of 10 runs and over, you don't win very many matches conceding that many runs, especially in this platform. End of 4, 39 for 1. Take a look at this again. Look where this ball pitches and where it hits. To me, just there. The very top of his batting pad, front pad, so that ball would have had to have traveled another maybe 2-3 feet, and it's rising. So for me, that's going over the top. So I asked the question earlier: how are you going to use young Rishabh Shimpi? Here's the first answer. Coming in, to start over number 5. Flash. First ball takes the edge. End of Yuvraj Samra.
We saw that from another young lefty yesterday in the form of Paradkar. Shimpi straight into the attack and takes out one of these dangerous opening batters.
The line. If it is outside the line of off stump, that is where you have success. And he did not even turn around to appeal to umpire Owen Brown. The match referee may have something to say about that. Technically, as a bowler, you're supposed to ask the question. But there's no question it came off the edge. Maybe that's why he didn't need to appeal. Oh.
Well, and certainly there, we talk a lot of times about spinners getting just the right amount of turn. In that case, just the right amount of swing. Nothing extravagant, but just enough to miss the middle of the bat and pick up that edge off Samra.
It is such an interesting point. Carmine LaRue, to my memory, bowled just swinging it around corners yesterday, but didn't take any wickets from my recollection.
That's correct.
Certainly not during the power play or during his first spell. And he was swinging it so much, the phrase is, you're not good enough to get bat on that.
Exactly.
And the reason why you're not getting bat on it is because it's swinging so much. Well, this, as you pointed out, is just the perfect amount of swing, inducing the shot, and then just catching the outside edge. And wicketkeeper Angel House doing the rest. So, you mentioned him. Dilpreet Singh Bajwa is now into the attack, or is now at the wickets. Amshad De Silva, I actually like this move of keeping him out of the, taking him away from the new ball and having him bowl maybe late in the power play into the middle overs. I actually like that.
It was certainly when he was at his most effective yesterday.
Oh, this is a good start. What did I just say? I felt like they needed a wicket. Well, they certainly got one here. Do I get credit for that wicket, then, is the other question.
I mean, if I'm as generous as you were yesterday, yeah, absolutely.
So, a lefty and a righty at the wicket at the same time. The imposing figure of Shehan Jayasuri at the non-striker's end. Another wicket. Is it? Yes! 2 wickets in the over for young Rishabh Shimpi. That is the end of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, 39 for 3.
Yesterday, a hostile spell from Shimpi, but it was expensive and he didn't strike. Today, 2 of them in his first over before he's given up a single run. Let's get a look at this one. Goes with that short ball up at the shoulders of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. Picks up just a bit of glove on the way through, but nothing artful about that one. Just power and intimidation, and it gets the job done.
I will tell you what, that line was not the line that you need to bowl to get a wicket like that. Any other day, that's a top edge that flies over fine leg for 4 or 6. So Dilpreet Singh Bajwa might consider himself unlucky that took the edge. Sometimes it's just not your day. You want that bouncer from over the wicket to be going over the top of middle and off. That one is actually down the leg side. But it will look like a Jaffer in the scorebook, and you will take it all day, every day.
Well, and especially something that is likelier to be a problem for a brand new batter as opposed to one who's gotten his eye in at that point. Dilpreet not used to trying to read the length just yet, just has gotten in and absorbed 1 dot. If you're going to miss like that, that's the time for it.
Well, as of right now, the scorecard in this over reads, wow. Wicket, 0 wicket. And that is what you have. Essentially, that's what comes to mind when you see how Rishabh Shimpi is bowling here. Now, here's another matchup that you want to see. The captain, Floyd Reefer. Floyd Reefer is a coach in the Caribbean, from the same country as Raymond Reefer in Barbados. But he's on full attack here, Rishabh Shimpi, and he's being supported by his captain, Corey Anderson, a slip fielder now in position. That is Unmuk Singh. Unmuk Chand. What am I talking about? First delivery to Reefer. Well played. Oh, fortunes have turned a little bit in the last over or so.
That's what a difference an over can make. And Reefer immediately on the back foot, having to deal with a very full delivery, but not one that he could particularly attack. Take a look here at the 2 wickets. The nick off from Samra, followed by the glove touch. Both of them back into the waiting gloves of Andres House. Sure-handed behind the wicket, and it's now 3 down inside the power play.
Look out here. Straight drive, no consequence with that ball hitting the stumps at the non-striker's end because it did not come off the bat or the body of the bowler. So you end up with a single. But my goodness, what an over this is underway here for Rishabh Shimpi.
Well, you mentioned the wow right here. We have a bunch of slangs for these up in the presentation box. So we take another look here at the celebration. But we've referred to wicket followed by all dots as a Ric Flair. Woo! Or if you go wicket, ... wicket, that's an Owen Wilson because it's wow.
I was secretly, I hate to say it because I like Raymond Reefer personally. I'll tell you after this ball. Wide. I was almost rooting for wicket to bring up the Oprah. Wow, wow, wow.
Well, if that had happened, especially if he doesn't give up the runs here, I've already called one triple wicket maiden this season.
Wow.
And it was the very first over of the year from Shadley van Skalkvik.
Oh, my. In fact, I was watching that game. Yes, you're absolutely right. I did see that.
Barely let me sit down and get comfortable before he started taking wickets.
Oh, that was almost a return catch. Oh, my goodness. What a brilliant first over from Rishabh Shimpi. Only 2 runs conceded. And the big wickets of the 2 batters at the top of the order, Shahan Jayasuriya and Raymond Reefer, the 2 batters at the crease. End of over 5, 41 for 3.
Sanchit Sandhu will continue from the river end and bowl the last over here of the power play. His first one went for 10. And when it ended 6 balls ago, it certainly looked like Kings 11 Dallas were in a world of hurt. What a difference. The old saying, put 2 wickets on that score and see how you feel about it. We saw it play out in real time in the span of about 3 balls. And you feel a little differently about 41 for 3.
No question that you feel a little differently. And I'm a big believer in watching body language. The body language of the Kings 11 Dallas players was extremely negative an over ago. Looks very different now.
First delivery to Reefer is batted into the turf. He's got the 1 single on the ball that came back and hit the stumps, and you were looking at the return catch possibility on that last ball of the over. I was thinking, Shahan, get yourself back in your crease, because that had all the looks of one that kisses the fingertips and then lights up the zing bails.
Oh my goodness. Don't know if we'll have time to go back to look at that replay. I would not mind seeing that because you're exactly right. That could have been a dismissal either of the striker or the non-striker, depending on how the ball went.
Change in the field here as backward point is going to be pushed back to the rope, and for that matter, pull themselves to point proper. Third man up into the circle alongside fine leg. That one's going to be looped into, again, the space where that fielder just was. If he had just gone back to the rope, they've got protection and it's just a single, but instead, Raymond Reefer, first boundary for him today. And a welcome relief after the wicket taking over of Shimpi.
You don't mind him playing outside the line of off stump, but this is for me a little too wide. In fact, had he left that alone, Raymond Reefer, it may well have been adjudged as a wide. You want that ball to be in a 4th stump line, maybe a 5th stump line, but certainly not that wide.
Full delivery from Sandhu, and that one's worked even closer to square of the wicket, and again will beat the fielder to the boundary. Back-to-back 4s here from Raymond Reefer.
This is a better shot from Raymond Reefer, keeps it on the ground, but look, you will see the same line, maybe just a touch closer to the body, but still well wide of Raymond Reefer. No risk in that shot, playing it very wide. I think the plan is to get Raymond Reefer to play on the offside, but it should not be from that wider line. You want that ball to be on a 4th stump line. That's where you bring the slip fielder into play. That's where you bring Andrea Gauss into play.
This time around a bit tighter and a chance potentially at a run out. Throw from Corey Anderson wide of the stumps. Jayasuriya was home.
Yeah, so this line to me is a lot better. And the length is a little bit shorter. Not bowling as full as he did to the second and third balls in this over. That to me is the way that you close out this over. You've already sustained some damage. 8 runs in the over already. And you're going to want to not let him get away. Look where this ball is. In fact, these are the 2 fours. The first one and the second one, both full, both wide, both expertly put away by Raymond Reefer.
With the Reefer single, 50 up for Silicon Valley. Jayasuriya on strike, and he will let that one go by. A proper test match leave. That a much better line from Sanchit Sandhu.
Oh, my goodness, yes. So, certainly, you talk about the fact that they average, I think you said 41 in their power plays. Well, they've exceeded that, but they did not want to have lost those 3 wickets that they've lost so far.
Well, and they certainly didn't blow away their usual average quite the way it looked like they were going to before Shimpy came in. Final ball with the fielding restrictions. That'll be bunted back behind. Misses the stumps only barely. Definite fear of a potential chop on from Raymond Reefer, but that will end it. Power play done and dusted. Silicon Valley Strikers at 50 for 3. Reefer and Jayasuriya at the crease as we enter our first over without the fielding restrictions. These two put on one of the 2 big partnerships on clinching day for Silicon Valley Strikers. Their final match of the season, win number 7 over San Diego. They found themselves at 14 for 2 at the end of the second over. And it was Jayasuriya and Bajwa that put on 96 runs and held down the middle overs. But when Reefer came in at 110 for 3, he and Jayasuriya added 77 in less than 6 overs. Absolute onslaught at the end of that, and they won't need that just yet, but they're going to want this to last. First delivery of the 7th over, run down to 3rd.
Well, my quick math tells me that that's 13 runs and over. You could accept 13 runs and over at any point, and particularly towards the end of an innings. That spells momentum, and that's what this pair can do. And to the point that we were making earlier, they're both lefties. And so there's going to be a sameness about the bowling attack for a while. You probably don't want to bring in Ali Sheikh. You probably don't want to bring in either Adam Khan or Sahib Malhotra. So you're very limited as a bowling unit in what you can do here.
Short delivery from Shimpy. Run down square of the wicket. Sharp chance, but Jayasuriya in safely. Shimpy continuing on with this spell here. 2 for 4 at this point through 8 deliveries. And only 3 of those runs off the bat to this point. He has been absolutely on point from the get-go.
As I said earlier, I really like how they're using Rishabh Shimpy. As a bowler, you tend, especially as a pace bowler, you tend to take a blow to the ego when you're told you're not going to bowl the new ball. But this feels like a good role for him.
Sticking with that line up into the armpits, and again, they will take the single. Again, no real danger from the man in the field.
But this is good cricket. You're picking up singles. They recognize that he's being used as an attack dog. He's not bowling just short of length. He's hammering it in, as you mentioned, into the armpits. It's up around the waist. You're bowling in a very aggressive line. And in response, what this batting pair is doing is just riding the bounce and dropping it behind square for singles. That is a great way of being able to offset the effort that you're seeing here from Rishabh Shimpy.
Well, you can get used to seeing pace here. As you were listing off the bowlers that you probably keep out, I think that takes care of all of their spin attack.
It's interesting because as you see right now at mid-off, make that mid-on. That is Obaspinar warming up. So do you bring him back into the attack and have him bowl arm balls that are leaving the two left-handed batters? Obaspinar with 2 overs already bowled, still 2 more to come, of course. So it feels like, at least based on my read of the fact that he's warming up, that you may bring him back here at the beginning of the next over.
Liftoff, Raymond Reefer. That one drifts in on the body and is absolutely launched. That ends up outside the seating bowl. And the most obvious signal we've seen of the day so far from our umpire.
We need more balls. Look at this. Attack dog is what you've been using him as. Look where he pulls this ball from. That's from outside the line of off stump, and it is launched into the seats over at deep backward square leg.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that signal from the umpire was for the 6 or just, as you were saying, Garcon?
Garcon.
Looks like they have retrieved it. We could at least see it this time around, not like the one that Hassan hit into the trees yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
Look forward to a little more Hassan Khan this evening in our day-night game, a 6 p.m. start. Blazers and Kingsmen, rematch of last year's final.
Slower delivery. Raymond Reefer works this one down into that deep fine leg area and sprinting back for the second run. So what started out being a decent over for Rishabh Shimpi.
Well, you said smart cricket to begin with.
Yep.
And then the big hit from Raymond Reefer. They end up with 11 off of it. 61 for 3 through 7. Third over on the trot for Sanchit Sandhu from the river end. So no Obaspinar just yet. Perhaps hopes that Shimpi might dispatch with one of these 2 first. If you're looking ahead, next up in that lineup, you've got Pranay Suri and you've got Gary Graham. That one dancing past the outside edge. Hands over his head for Sanchit Sandhu. Thought he might have had something there.
So we talked earlier about the line that he was bowling, Sanchit Sandhu. Full and wide, the second and third balls of the last over that he bowled. But this one is on the right line, just outside the line of off stump. But a 4th stump line, I keep asking for that. Excuse me, that's what you got from him on that delivery.
That's that over the wicket, creating the angle across the left-handed batter.
Absolutely.
Stepping forward this time is Shahan, not able to make good contact, and the man at mid-wicket will flag it down.
Bowling options. Bowling options. Bowling options. Corey Anderson has not bowled for several weeks. He refers to himself as an insurance policy. With all of his experience, and this being a do-or-die game, do you get yourself in the position of thinking, maybe I'll just bowl myself 1 over, maybe 60-70%, and see if I can outfox one of these fielders or one of these batters?
Big cut and a miss here as Sandhu puts that one again on that good line. Yeah, it would be an interesting change of pace. So far, your lefty is a fireballer,
yes,
armpit seeker, and Corey's a very different beast to go after. Has been a bit expensive this season at 8.40. Interesting note is he's yet to bowl himself against a left-handed batter this season. All 60 balls he's bowled have been against righties. This one runs square of the wicket, and the sequence of dots will come to an end.
I mentioned Corey Anderson because he would be let's call it a wild card. And both batters will be thinking, okay, why is he bowling himself to me? You know what? Let me try to hit him down to highway 30 and see how that works out. And maybe you take advantage of that aggression because you know that that's what they would be wanting to do. Take over and be aggressive to the captain. Maybe you take advantage of that aggression.
Reefer opening the face of the bat. Third man back at the rope, so that'll be a single. I don't mind it. They're going to have to get a little creative because, as we said, they really don't have much in the way of spin options that aren't against the prevailing wisdom at this point. And Obus has coughed up a lot of runs against lefties. I will say, Ali Sheikh, better economy against lefty batters this season by about a run and a half. So maybe a little against what you would tend to expect. That could still be an option here. I don't know about specifically to Jayasuriya. He tends to hit lefty spinners pretty well, but it might be a way of going after Reefer. Not a lot of footwork in that, but Shahan Jayasuriya able to reach out and find a gap in the deep. That will be a pair to finish off over number 8. Silicon Valley Strikers make it now 65 for the loss of 3. A look here at the fall of wickets here in the first 8 overs of our encounter. First, it was Sanchit Sandhu. A little bit of swing to take the wicket of Amo Garapalli and get him to edge that one to the cordon. Yuvraj Samra into the gloves of Andres House on the first ball that Rishabh Shimpi came in and bowled. A little bit less extravagant swing, but still plenty effective. This one, maybe a bit of a mistake delivery, but benefiting from the height of Andres House and from the, at that point, inexperience in today's match of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa as he chases after one and gloves it into the other set of gloves. That over from Shimpi felt match-changing at the time. Silicon Valley so far with a pretty decent reaction to it. Put up another big over against Sandhu. Can't remember what the one right after that was. Maybe I'm thinking of
Rishabh Shimpi.
That's right. They actually targeted Shimpi in his second over. That's correct. That's what I'm thinking of. So change here. It'll be Amshi Da Silva back into the attack. The throw just does miss the stumps from Andres House. In safely, though, was Jayasuriya. So they continue with the all-pace attack since that first couple of overs from Obus Pinar.
This is an interesting partnership. Jayasuriya 16 from 11, Reefer 15 from 13. So the partnership now worth 27, which doesn't sound like much, but it's the second highest partnership in the innings so far. And you get the sense that neither one of them is bothered in any way. They look comfortable just dropping that ball into that backward point area. Reefer has done that a number of times. And then you see that big shot that he played earlier for 6.
This one's going to be wide of mid-off in the circle. Looks like just a single. Jayasuriya was thinking about trying to grab up a second, maybe preparing for a potential misfield, but turned back immediately by his captain.
That, interestingly, now again, we're reading the tea leaves. Ali Sheikh is now warming up. Saw Obus Pinar warming up earlier. He did not come into the attack, but Ali Sheikh, that, as I'm looking at him here, that tells me that he's going to be bowling next, I would think. Because you're now using Amshi Da Silva for his second over. Lovely shot down the ground. But you're also needing to hold back Amshi Da Silva for the death. Because Sanchit Sandhu only has 1 over remaining. And you're fast running out of pace options. Also Rishabh Shimpi with 2 remaining. But you can't, at some point you have to go to spin. The question becomes, do you go to leg spin or do you go to left arm orthodox? It feels like it's going to be Ali Sheikh.
So as we were saying, to spin or Corey. Those are sort of your options. But yeah,
Yep.
you've got those other 4 overs you need to pick up from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a change of pace there from De Silva.
Yep.
Looks like he takes something off and gets that one to fly through to House.
On balance, a decent spell overall for Amshi De Silva. You saw him make that new ball talk earlier. Outswing to the right-hander, inswing to the left-hander. But the overall economy rate or the run rate for the innings so far, 8.04. Projection there, 161.
Now turning and trying to launch one is Jayasuriya, but he hasn't gotten enough of it. And backward square is in play. Amshi De Silva strikes, and Silicon Valley, their biggest partnership, comes to an end. 68 now for 4.
This is a good delivery. A short ball exactly where you want it. It is at the head of the batter. I've seen a lot of short balls in this tournament so far end up around chest height. That doesn't bother most batters. Up around the head is where you want the short ball to be. Look at this replay. And for me, it is the angle from over the wicket, and it pitched and left Jayasuriya. All of those elements mean that he was not in control of the shot, and he took it very easily, straight down the throat of the fielder at deep mid-wicket. Wicket number 4, 68 for 4.
The partnership broken, and it will be Prane Suri coming out at 6 to partner the captain, Raymond Reefer. And now you've broken that lefty-lefty partnership. You've opened up some serious options at this point. If you're Corey Anderson, quick little wipe of the brow. You don't necessarily need to bowl yourself right away. Now, certainly, if you can keep Suri on strike as the new bowler, the new batter rather, you can start thinking about some leg spins. Certainly, Ali Sheikh.
Well, the scorecard says that Jayasuriya is still at the wicket.
Oh, that is that is a goof.
Unless my eyes deceive me, and it's very possible that my 57-year-old eyes might be deceived. That appears to be Raymond Reefer at the non-striker's end. So let's just say that needs to be corrected sometime soon.
Either way, last ball of the 9th over. That one is going to it's going to be a wide down the leg side.
Yeah, quick Yorker there. Amshi De Silva looking for the glory ball. I've said that a couple of times this weekend already, or this week already, where you're looking for the Yorker up front to start, wanting to get under the bat of the new batter. That's not a bad idea. Another way that you could try it is with the short ball. You saw the success with the short ball in the last delivery.
That one is just over the top. I believe a bump ball either way, but just does evade the reach of Amshi De Silva. It'll be a dot, though, to finish, just 4 from it. And the big fish, Shahan Jayasuriya, sent to the pavilion. Silicon Valley Strikers, 69 for 4. Corey Anderson is going to bowl out Sanchit Sandhu here in over number 10. He bowls them all in one continuous stretch after being the first change from the river end. First over at that side had gone to Amshi De Silva. His return to the attack, last over a very bright one. First delivery to Raymond Reefer, a bit of width on offer, and that is where Sandhu was getting punished earlier. This time doesn't quite get all of it. Not quite as wide and full as the ones that he hit to the rope earlier, but A single to get the over underway, and I figured that would be the ball where they would discover that they had the wrong batter there, because now it's very evident that was not Jayasuriya, but
exactly. So Pranay Suri has only faced one delivery. For me, this is a moment to try to build pressure. And you build pressure by bowling deliveries that are essentially going to be dot balls. That first delivery of the over felt like they were conceding a single to Raymond Reefer, which I don't necessarily agree with.
Unless your thought is specifically to build the pressure on Suri and get Reefer off strike as soon as possible.
Very interesting. That could also be the point.
Suri 15 off 9 yesterday, had 1-6 before he was caught by Hassan Khan in the deep, trying to go straight down the ground off of Ghulam Mudassar. 59 runs in the regular season for Pranay. Steps slightly forward, dumps that into the offside, and thoughts of an attempted direct hit, but the feet slip out from under Corey Anderson, and we'll hope that he is all right.
Yeah, that's
or correction.
That's Raman Dar. I want to check
My mistake.
to see who that is. Well, again, in your defense, they look exactly alike.
Yeah, beards, shades, and that sun hat. Makes things a little challenging here from a distance, but...
Yep, that is Raman Dar. Our great Hassan in the truck tells us that he's carrying a bit of an Achilles injury. So you'll hope that he did not exacerbate that injury with that slip.
Full delivery and backing away. It's Reefer trying to tap that into the onside. No run there.
Well, you've seen Ramandar in the outfield. He is like a deer. Sprinting, covers so much ground in the outfield. It's interesting that he's not fielding on the infield, which I guess would lend credence to the idea that he's carrying a little bit of a niggle.
Little off pace from Sandhu, and that'll be dumped wide of Dar. That square leg and a single there. It'll be Pranay to face the final delivery of the Sandhu spell.
Well, if you're keeping Ramandar inside the circle, good afternoon, Mr. Lafkesh Kalia. If you're keeping Ramandar inside the circle to save his legs, he's running more now than he did in the outfield. He's literally had to go up to the last 3 deliveries.
That one gets some pad and a appeal from Sanchit Sandhu. Nothing given and no leg by on offer as Suri heads back. And so that will end Sanchit's spell. We're going to have to wait to figure out exactly what his final figures are. I believe it was 1 for 25, but they're in the middle of some scorecard surgery to fix the incorrect batter that's been on there for about an over and a half. Either way, 72 for 4 at the end of 10.
Oh, so we'll look at some highlights here. Saw the really good outswingers bowled by both right-arm pacers, Sanchit Sandhu and Amshi De Silva. And then you saw, I think, some big hits earlier. Yuvraj Samar looked very good for a while. That one ended up in the seats at Backward Square. But the wickets started to fall and no real pressure, no real sustenance being built by these batters. Getting to the pads of the left-hander is always a problem, but then the attack dog, as I referred to him, Rishabh Shimpi coming into the attack and then taking 2 wickets. This one, I think, looks better in the scorebook than in reality, but you'll take that wicket nonetheless. So 72 for 4 is what I believe you're ending up with here. Raymond Reefer and Shehan Jayasuriya putting on a great partnership. That one was the wicket of Shehan Jayasuriya, and that's where you are now. The water break is well and truly underway. We'll take a break along with the players. See you back here in about another minute or so. 72 for 4. Into the second half of the first innings of this eliminator match. To wear our boxing analogy to death one more time, Joe Hickey. First few rounds went decidedly in favor of the Silicon Valley Strikers. Last several have been toward the Kings 11 Dallas. Would you agree?
Hard to disagree with that. Certainly that Rishabh Shimpi over and Amshi De Silva getting Shehan Jayasuriya a couple of body blows there in the middle overs, or in the case of Shimpi, toward the end of the power play. Just about starting to get the scorecard worked out. We are at 72 for 4 at the end of 10, with Reefer out there now partnering Prane Suri, and it'll be Reefer to face the first delivery as we get our first look, it would appear, at spin.
It is Ali Sheikh. We talked about him earlier. He talked about the fact that he's actually very good against lefties, which is counterintuitive given that the stock delivery from Ali Sheikh turns into the left-handers. Raymond Reefer, a powerfully built man, can clear the ropes at deep mid-wicket with ease. In fact, he can probably, I keep talking about hitting the ball down to Highway I-30. He could do that if he wanted to. But I think the job for him is just to stay there for another 3 or 4 overs before they launch. And I think that's what Corey Anderson is trying to take advantage of here. You introducing Ali Sheikh into the attack.
Well, and Sheik's good economy against lefties comes mainly from boundary restriction, only giving up 1 boundary every 20 balls against left-handed batters this season. So Reefer's got the ability, but Sheikh has been all season very good at restricting that.
The fact that Ali Sheikh is starting off around the wickets to Raymond Reefer tells me that he recognizes the fact that Raymond Reefer can easily clear the ropes at deep mid-wicket. So you go around the wicket to create that angle going across the left-handed batter. That's a very efficient strategy, I think. So Prane Suri on strike, facing up to Ali Sheikh. Appeal. Gone! Umpire Owen Brown takes a look and then raises the dreaded finger. That is the end of Prane Suri. 73 for 5.
And so far, that's 3 of the 5 wickets taken by bowlers within their first 3 balls of their spell. Just into the attack and immediately causing problems. First Shimpi and now Ali Sheikh. Suri losing his wicket for the first time to a lefty spinner this year.
Oh my goodness. Pitching, straightening, hitting maybe the outer half of leg stump would be my guess. It is certainly straightening, and umpire Owen Brown having a good look. That's what you want to see from umpires. You don't like umpires who make snap decisions. Take a look at this again.
A lovely length for that ball, and Suri trying to get down and sweep it back behind a square. Just cannot get to it, and I'm with you. Yeah, probably kissing left leg stump.
A big giveaway for me is, or not giveaway, but the way that another indication where you know that the right decision was made is look at Andreas Haus. If it was going down the leg side, he would have been more to his left, to the right of the screen. But he's essentially standing right over leg stump when he's appealing. For me, that is a good decision, and that's the reason why you've lost half the side at this point. And we'll wait for the scorecard to catch up with us. But as of right now, let's say unofficially, we're 73 for 5. And back again, the 2 lefties at the crease.
That new lefty is Kamran Hotak, if for no other reason than a desire to delay the entry of Gary Graham a little bit. That will certainly be his responsibility, as second delivery he sees is worked away to long on for a single.
So Captain Raymond Reefer, talked about him. He can hit the ball a mile, but especially with the losses that you've had in the last couple of overs, you'd think that he'd want to sort of hold his fire, so to speak. Now, what role do you have here for Cameron Hotak?
Well, Kamran on the season goes at about a run a ball. He's been deployed in the past as an opener, but in this role here, he's had his success against lefty pace for the most part. We're not going to see a ton more of that. I think his job here against the spin is going to be largely survival to get to the end of this over, which I believe he does there on that delivery.
Yep. 3 runs coming from that over, and we preface all of this by saying unofficially, as the scorecard works to keep up with us, end of over number 11, 75 for 5. Kings 11 Dallas, backs against the wall. You could say the same about the Silicon Valley Strikers, as the losers of this match essentially find themselves on the outside looking in for the trip to Morrisville later on this weekend. It is Obas Pinar who opened the bowling. Overs 1 and 3. Over number 1 went for 5 runs, but 4 of those were 4 byes. This is skied in the air. It is catchable. Oh, what a stunning catch! Absolutely ridiculous catch by Amshi De Silva. 75 for 6.
Can't keep Amshi out of the action, that's for sure. Obas Pinar doing his best impression of his of these earlier bowlers that have come in to start their spell with a wicket. He's away for a little while, comes back in, and immediately strikes. And this time it is the other big fish. Raymond Reefer's got to go. Didn't quite have enough on that ball toward Cow Corner.
It was a long hop. It deserved to be punished. But look at this catch by Amshi De Silva, running to his right and diving full strength over his shoulder, no less. Stunning stuff. That, for me, we've seen a lot of catches this year. I cannot think of any that's been better than that one.
That's way up there, and especially for the ground covered. We saw Hassan Khan make a nice one at shoestring yesterday. We saw that lunging grab by Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, but just for the sheer effort to even get in the vicinity of that ball, and then the dive, the snag, and to hold on to it as he hits the ground as hard as he did. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
All the elements that you just said are exactly accurate. So the catch stands on its own in a vacuum. But think of the context. You've gotten rid of the captain. You've gotten rid of their left-handed big hitter. You now have a righty at the crease, which is what you wanted. Gary Graham is at the crease. This opens things up for you as Kings 11 Dallas side in a way that they were not open one delivery ago.
It's just unreal for me thinking that this team was at 39 for 1, 4 overs in. And I'm trying to do some math in my head, but they haven't even doubled that total for 5 wickets lost in the time since, which is upwards of, 8, 9 overs?
Yep.
Goodness gracious. Heck of a comeback here from Kings 11 Dallas from what had to have been a bit of a punch in the mouth to start the power play.
Oh. Stunning stuff from Amshi De Silva. The new batter is in, Gary Graham. Oh my goodness!
I have a slight wonder whether whether we were able to do replay and show the view from inside the box, because I think we had a pretty I'd say understated reaction to that in here. Yeah.
I find it hard to contain my excitement
You
when
and
I
me
see
both.
plays like that.
Yeah, you and me both. That's why we get each other.
Oh my goodness! Stunning. Tickled around the corner here. Oh, how the worm has turned, if you will. So I think you've seen evidence that the way that the Kings 11 Dallas has taken over this game has put them in a much better position than they were in just a handful of overs ago, as you were just alluding to. And yes, we're still working to keep up with the scorecard. It looks like we're just about there. So 77 for 6, maybe 76 for 6 at the moment. We'll assume that what the scorecard has is accurate. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff in the field. Again, body language for me is telling me that the Kings 11 Dallas are very happy with where they are at the moment. Outside edge found, but Rishabh Shimp is there at short third. No chance of a single there. And that is the end of yet another successful over. Silicon Valley strikers are struggling. Kings 11 Dallas have them 76 for 6. Take a look at this catch again, my goodness. Nailed. Again, it was a long hop, but look at Amshid De Silva. The celebration is all worth it. You know that he put the effort in, and that full stretch dive, running to his right and running backward at the same time. I thought he was going to end up going over the ropes. Take a look at this again. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. And look at the substitute fielder outside the boundary. Don't know if we can go back and catch that again, but the celebration started right then and there. Oh, tell you what, you don't always want to take on Ali Sheik like that. Concedes a single down to long on, but that's often a possession from which he effects a run out, Ali Sheik.
There's definitely a little hesitation there before thinking about taking that single.
So Ali Sheik versus Gary Graham. You like this matchup if you are the Kings 11 Dallas. Played back to the ball himself, no run.
From right arm pacers, he is striking at 250. Absolutely smashing them, and just about anything else has been a better option for him this season and historically. He tends to do very well against that.
So I hate to paint with a broad brush. We Jamaicans love pace. We Jamaicans hate spin. And that will hold true almost every time, every day. Looking for two here, come back for the second, and they'll get there. Good piece of fielding in the deep, but can't prevent that second run. That is Taha Badar, substitute fielder, on. So you get a couple more runs here, but things have slowed down a little bit in the last couple of overs. Overall run rate now down to 6.32. It's not long ago we were talking about a projected score for around 160. Projection now shows to be 126. Oh, what a big wind up from Gary Graham, trying to hit that one over the Major League Cricket sign. But that's why you have the spinner on, bowling, turning the ball away from him. That's just a single, and that is the end of over number 13. Unofficially, we have 81 for 6. Oba Spinar into ball his last over. Tied Gary Graham in knots here with that first delivery.
Well, thinking back to the contours of this fight back here from Kings 11, We recall the big first over from Rishabh Shimpi, the pair of wickets and the 2 runs there in the 5th over. After that, 8 and 11 off the next 2 from Sandhu and Shimpi, and since then, overs 8 through 12, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2. And this is from a bowling unit that this season has been rock bottom of minor league in the middle overs. They go at well in excess of 8 runs and over. They don't strike. This is completely out of character for what they have been doing for the last 5 weeks.
Well, the binary scorecard continues. There's 2 runs from the first 3 balls of over number 14. The run rate is now 6.15. 6.15 projects to a score of 123. Big hit from Gary Graham. Goes down, going down the ground for the next 6. That is 6 number 3 of the innings.
See, the thing you have to remember is that Obis Pinar is essentially a left-arm medium pacer. Therefore, the Jamaican likes it.
That's exactly right. So you saw him get success, Obis Pinar, slowing the ball up, tossing it up. If I were him, I don't know that I wouldn't toss it up well outside the line of off stump and very full, maybe just inside the wide line to try to tempt Gary Graham to hit toward Taha Badar out at deep point. Straighter at the body here. 1 ball remaining in over number 14. 8 from the over so far. And at the point where you are right now, 37 balls remaining in the innings. Last ball from Obis Pinar. Plays it to backward point. Ramandar does the cleanup work. A dot ball to close things out. 8 runs coming from the over. So overall, a decent spell for Obis Pinar. 1 loose delivery in that last over that got put away. And there's a good look at it straight down the ground. He's a very strong striker of the ball, Gary Graham. But last 6 coming up, 89 for 6. Back to Ali Sheikh. First delivery of over number 15 is cut away down to that deep point area. Amshi De Silva with that absolutely stunning catch as the fielder who is down there who cleaned that one up. So Gary Graham on strike to Ali Sheikh. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Andreas House it is who's from behind the stumps to clean that one up. So a couple of singles to start over number 15. You will notice that the scorecard is not on the screen. Some technical difficulties at the moment. We'll try to keep you updated as we go along. 9-1 for 6, 2 deliveries into over number 15. Hammered, but straight down to long off. Should just be a single here. So 3 straight singles. What are you looking for from the last 33 balls of this innings if you are the Silicon Valley Strikers, Joe Hickey?
Well, if you want to think about what we saw yesterday, I believe the projection has it somewhere in excess of 8s would get you to 137, which is essentially what both these teams put up yesterday. Silicon Valley to try to build a total, and Kings 11.
I would not disagree with that at all. And in fact, that is Oh, one ball remaining here in over number 15. 93 for 6 is what we have the score. Once again, once we get that back up and operational, we'll put it back on the screen. But for now, you may have to take our word for it. Off the back foot, straight down the ground. A single there that closes out over number 15. Cameron Hotak will keep strike, as that is the end of 15. The score is 94 for 6.
A striker's middle order that has been 7th in minor league in the middle at 7.61 runs and over against a Kings 11 side that has been conceding over 8 runs and over in that period. This time today, the middle overs go for 45 runs. Silicon Valley going at 5s in a stretch that they usually dominate and that Kings 11 usually suffer through. And as a result, we're at 94 for the loss of 6. It's going to be Rishabh Shimpi. Change of ends for him to start the death overs. And the attack dog out to steam in from the river end. I like that nickname. I'm going with it.
Deep fine leg, deep backward square leg. Expect bouncers. Oh!
Full toss worked away. That might be a no ball. And that is the signal from the square leg umpire on height. A beamer up at shoulder height. And it wound up where Shimpi might have liked it to, but it didn't take the proper course.
No, it did not.
That's going to be a free hit here in a moment for Gary Graham.
Boy, so just to explain what happened there, the field is set for a bouncer, but he tried to use the double bluff, tried to go for the Yorker. Missed the Yorker, missed his length, and look at this replay. Look where this ball ends up. Oh, yes, that is high. That is an illegal delivery for the purpose that if you're accustomed to the ball coming off the pitch at pace, if it comes in the air without bouncing, it is a very dangerous delivery and rightly called no ball.
Yeah, if it's at your shins, it's dangerous for the bowler. That one dangerous for the batter. Here's the free hit, and Graham does not quite get all of it. Stopped well by fine leg. And he will get out of that exchange with just 2 runs to his name, the no ball, or rather 3, the single from Hotak, the no ball itself, and a single from Graham. Hotak back on strike.
He can consider himself lucky there, Rishabh Shimpi, because that was going all the way to the boundary if it is 2 yards either side of Obaspinar. He's inside the circle, and that easily would have run away down the fence for 4.
Changes in the field here as mid-wicket creeps in and square leg is pushed back to the boundary. Hotak not able to get a piece of that one. It's going to be, looks like a leg side wide. It must have flicked some pad on the way through. No signal forthcoming.
Yeah, it does look like it was indeed going in the direction where you'd expect for it to have been given as wide. So I think you're right. That might have just flicked something on the way through.
2 extras in the over so far. Shimpi this time more conventional length, and that one's pushed towards long, or rather mid-off.
So there's an obvious change in the strategy. At the start of the over, he was in attack dog mode. There was a deep fine leg, there was a deep backward square leg. Field is set for short bowling. But as you pointed out, there's a definite change. Fielders in the deep behind square, at least one of them came in, and he's now bowling a fuller length with Rishabh Shimpi.
It's fine leg staying back here for Graham. Maybe trying to watch out for the thoughts of a scoop. 3rd is in the circle. He'll tap that instead almost square of the wicket to the offside. And it's just a single.
Gary Graham wants to go after Rishabh Shimpi. He checked his shot just now. He big stride, opened himself up, wanted to go big down the ground, and just at the last second realizing that the ball wasn't quite there for that shot, so he checked it. But he is going to want to go big. 2 balls remaining here in over 16. He's looking to swing for the fences if he gets the right ball.
Hotak will put that one over the top of the man in the circle. That is going to split the gap in the deep on the onside. Cow corner 4. And the 100 up for the Silicon Valley Strikers here in over number 16.
Welcome runs. You'll see this ball slanted in toward the pads. We talked about the fact that you don't want to bowl at the pads from that angle. You're bowling over the wicket because as a left-hander you want that ball to be going toward a 4th or 5th stump line. Anything towards the pads is asking for trouble.
Better on that one, and the fielder at backward point will keep it in the circle, and a dot ball to finish. That gets us to the end of over number 16. 103 for 6. Four overs left. They've got 1 left each of Shimpi and Ali Sheikh, 2 of Amshi De Silva, and they're going to spend that last over of the lefty spinner right here, it would appear, from the racecourse end, theater end. He bowls his 4 all in one unbroken spell from that end of the ground. So you would assume, without any surprises, it would go De Silva, Shimpi, De Silva to the finish. First delivery picked up by Gary Graham, backpedaling and watching it fly away is the man at mid-wicket, and a 6.
You saw that one coming, so off camera I was pointing in that direction to say that's exactly where that next ball was going, because he's set to go in that direction, Gary Graham, and he wants to score heavily going toward the back end of the innings. Just 23 balls remaining, don't have a lot of time to go in that or to get purchase, so you want to go be as aggressive as possible.
Trying for it again, he'll find the gap but won't quite get as much of the willow on it. A single out to Taha Badar coming up from backward square, or rather a double I should say. Graham will retain strike. Long enough run to pick up the 2 and get another opportunity here at Ali Sheikh.
He wants some of Ali Sheikh, and forget the whole Jamaica thing. He's just now swinging for the fences, Gary Graham.
8 off the first 2. Second one will be tapped wide of Ali. Runs in to grab it. No concerns over a Ali Sheikh web gem, as they called it in baseball, the fielding plays. That doesn't really work quite so much when you're not allowed to have a glove.
No.
There's no webbing to speak of, except for Andres.
All right.
Ali round the wicket. Hotak will slap that one to mid-wicket. A single there, and Gary Graham right back on strike, striding confidently to the other end.
You're at 113. 113 for 6. 2 balls remaining over number 17. 20 balls remaining in the innings. Run a ball gets you to 133. Gary Graham wants it to be more 145-ish. Hammered and just to the left of Corey Anderson, and deep point will not get there for more.
Another boundary here for Gary Graham as he looks to heat up. Mussing up Ali Sheikh's figures for sure here in his final over of the spell. How many is that off the over so far?
14 off the over so far, and as I said, Gary Graham is just looking to just go big.
Ali had given up 13 runs off his first 3 overs of work. Graham surveying the field. Deep protection is much closer to square of the wicket at backward square. Mid-wicket and long on the onside. Gary will flick that one back into a vacant region, and they're looking again for the 2 and will have no problem picking it up. Just good work finding the soft spot. It's almost it gives me a basketball vibe, finding the soft spot in the zone almost in that situation so you can get the 2. That is going to do it for the over and for the Ali Sheikh spell. finishes with the 1 wicket taken. That was Pranay Suri, LBW, on one of the first balls he bowled. We'll have the full number of runs for you in just a moment, but for the time being, 17 gone, 119 for 6. Run rate has moved up to 7s now for Silicon Valley Strikers, courtesy of these last couple overs and a bit of Gary Graham demolition. 18 balls left at this point. If you keep on at this rate, the one of the whole game, you get to that 140 that we had cited earlier. But looking at those projections, if you can make it 10 and over off these last few, could get yourself up in the ballpark of 150. Should be a big psychological victory given the way the middle overs of this match went here for Silicon Valley. Amshi De Silva to bowl over number 18 from the river end. And another near beamer to start the over. This time I think it does stay low enough. No signal from the square leg umpire, but a couple of misfires as they look to attack.
Definitely looking for the scoop shot was Cameron Hotak, and the full toss, I think it was ending up somewhere around thigh height. So not an ideal delivery, but not a no ball as well.
That one much better, going for Yorker length, getting it right. And right along the tram line as well. That is tough to get anything on. De Silva so far today, 1 for 11 in his 2.2. He's been responsible for 2 big wickets. One that he took as a bowler, that one Shehan Jayasuriya. The other took right in front of our commentary position with a brilliant catch to get rid of Reefer. Going for that Yorker again, just slightly overpitched, and gets it through the fielder on the infield and all the way to the rope for a 4. Kamran Hotak enters the chat.
There is a fine line between a good delivery at this stage of the innings and a delivery that you can score off of. To me, looking at that ball live, it felt like it was a little too wide. I think you'll confirm that here when we see the replay. Just through the offside, yes, that is very much wide. And it's obviously a low full toss. But a low full toss on the stumps gets hit down the ground for a single. A low full toss that is wide, like this one is, you can score runs off of those.
To the best of our recollection here, I think second boundary for Kamran Hotak. Had one over the top of mid-on earlier. Now looking for a scoop, unable to get it, and very nearly might have guided that onto his stumps. Needs a moment to collect himself afterwards.
So the plan obviously is to bowl full and just outside the line of off stump. The field is now set in such a way where that ball that went for 4 through extra cover is now going to be a single. There's a fielder sweeping in the covers on the boundary, and there is Adam Khan at short backward point to essentially keep that area protected as well. So the plan obviously bowl full and straight, or full and outside off. And
going for that, and along with it, off pace from Amshi De Silva, loopy delivery that ends up at a perfect Yorker length. A little bit of movement in as well in the air for the off pacer.
It's almost exactly like a perfect off break. It is drifting in and then pitching, and you saw after it pitched, it cuts away toward Andreas Krause's left.
Amshi De Silva says, "Who says we don't have any off spinners in the side? I got one in me."
Now, a pacer's ego will not allow himself to be referred to as an off spinner, though. So there's that.
That one shot right at the fielder in the circle. They will stay put. And a dot ball off the final ball of the over. 4 from it. 123 for 6. And back to this side of the ground, the end of the ground where he bowled his first 2 overs. Rishabh Shimpi will have over number 19 from the racecourse end. Gary Graham on strike against the lefty pacer. Rears back and launches that one looking for the gap, but won't find it. Mid-wicket, Ali Sheikh over to claim, and that will be a single.
Gary Graham is trying to clear the front leg and go big. That is his game plan as of right now. Reading his body language at the non-striker's end, he's saying, I should have done more with that ball than I actually did. Getting a single is a good thing, but certainly you want more than that with 11 balls to go.
Kamran Hotak opens up the hands, drops this one into no man's land just over the top of the captain. Gets under him, might be a chance for a second run. Rather a third, and even a follow-up overthrow at that point. So that bringing Graham on strike, that must have been 3 runs. They had the 2 pretty comfortably over the top of Anderson, and then it just slipped away from his grasp.
Yeah, bit of a comedy of errors. Not a chance for a catch. Corey Anderson, it was going to be over his head, but in sliding to prevent that ball from getting to the rope, he inadvertently kicked it, and that provided the opportunity for an additional run.
Graham again looking for the big hit, and again not quite connecting off the young lefty pacer. A single and Hotak back on strike. 5 off the first 3 balls of this over. Good production all told.
Certainly good production, and the scoring rate picking up just a little bit now. By the way, 50 partnership is what you have here. 53 is what this pair have put on. 3 balls remaining in over number 19. So 9 balls left in the innings. Can you get something around 145? 150 would be a blessing. 145 is realistic.
Hotak dragging this one back just behind square. Deep protection in 2 waves coming from that side, and no problem. That'll be a single. Gary Graham back on strike here.
And I think you called it, Joe Hickey. You're closing out with pace. You would think that the last over would be bowled by Amshi De Silva, but Gary Graham loves pace. And so watch how they maneuver the strike in these last couple of deliveries. Want him to be on strike for over 20.
Top edge, and that's going to run fine of everybody there inside the circle, and a 4 for Gary. So he will be on strike for the final delivery of this over and of the Rishabh Shimpi spell.
You don't mind the short ball, but the line on that short ball is too straight. Look at this, going down the leg side, starting out on leg stump and then moving in to avoid the... In fact, it was a similar delivery to the one that took the wicket earlier on. That one took the glove and taken by the keeper. This one flies down the fine leg for 4.
Will they try to keep Gary on strike? Will he treat it like a free hit? Instead, bashes that into the ground. They'll take the single. He will retain the strike as we go to over number 20. Expecting Amshi De Silva out here. Maybe Corey Anderson's got a surprise up his sleeve for us. We'll find out in just a few here. 134 for 6. No surprises, it will be Amshi De Silva bowling the final over here from the river end. Gary Graham, the man on strike. He's begun to accelerate a bit here and is looking for a flurry here at the finish. We talked earlier about targeting 140. That is now 6 runs away. 145 would take 11. A big over, 16 runs from it, and you hit that 150 mark, and I think psychologically that would do massive things for Silicon Valley.
No question. The name of the game, clear the front leg, swing for the fences. Mid-on is inside the circle. That is a curious move.
Gary not able to get fully behind the first delivery from Amshi. Good Yorker length on that one on a fourth stump line. Nothing to be done about that.
Beautiful Yorker. I go back to what I just said. Mid-on is inside the circle. Why would mid-on be in the circle here at this juncture of the game?
You certainly know it's a spot Gary's likely to target. We will see if they pay for that decision. No protection for an edge if Gary picks one up back behind. Instead, he'll drive this towards cover. That's just going to be a single. Good alert fielding from Raymondar down at the boundary.
This is great bowling. The Yorker, bang on target. Then this next delivery, very wide outside the line of off stump, but you have protection out there in the form of Raymondar. So to get 2 deliveries in to over number 20 with a man who's looking to clear the ropes, just 1 run from those 2 deliveries, a great start to the over.
Now the strike to Kamran Hotak. After a conversation with his battery mate out there. Looking to contribute himself to the big finish. A couple boundaries already on his ledger. Hotak does well to get Gary the strike as he was way down the pitch by the time of Hotak even electing to come forward.
And that ball went far enough for them to pick up 2, but never in a million years they come back for that second run. Gary Graham wants to be on strike to close out this over. Last 3 balls coming up. Close out this innings.
There is a deep third man here as De Silva steams in. Freeing the hands and firing this one, but straight to Ali Sheikh at long off, and that will just be a single. 2 balls left. And Kamran Hotak now on strike.
He is bowling a peach of a final over. You cannot score off of these types of deliveries. Very full Yorker length, and on some, he's targeting the stumps with that Yorker. On others, particularly to the right-handed Gary Graham, he's bowling it wide. But these are all balls that are designed to just give up singles.
That one a little shorter, picked up and fired towards the deep protection. No, correction, that's a 4. My mistake. It got all the way to the point where we can't see it in the comms box. Now we get a good look at it.
Yep.
That is a 4 for Kamran Hotak. He will face the last delivery. They have reached the 140 mark. Could get to 145 or 147 if Kamran can get this last one to the rope. But a little shorter, a little off pace there from Amshi. Not nearly as effective.
No, just do what has worked so far would be the name of the game. Last ball.
And a swing and a miss. They will look to take the bye, but it's going to be a tough one here. The throw has hit the woodwork. The finger is up, and it will be a run out off the final ball, and Silicon Valley will finish up at 141 for 7. Oh, correction. Did we see wide signaled?
Well, umpires are talking about it.
And the umpire indeed has been holding out the arms indicating a wide. So in that case,
wide. Okay.
Still a run out off of it. So it is still a 7th wicket down, but now they're now at 142. And how much might this end up mattering? Gary Graham gets to face one more delivery here.
Ooh.
Perhaps that's the reason why Hotak was a little slow getting off the mark. 143 rather for 7. So out to take the place of Kamran Hotak at the non-striker's end. More or less for show, but might get off to the races in a moment here to try to successfully take a bye this time is Sarab Netravalkar. Here comes the final ball from Amshi De Silva. And that is driven straight but there is a man at mid-wicket able to get there. They'll look to take a second. Throw is down to House's end, but will not be in time. So a pair of runs off that final delivery. This time I don't see any signals from the umpire. We are indeed done here, and they end up at 144 for 7, Brian.
144 for 7. Of course, all of the scoring that we've done in the last several minutes has been unofficial, so we'll assume that that's accurate or mostly accurate. What's, I think, accurate, though, is the fact that with the start that the Silicon Valley Strikers had, you'd have expected more out of them than where they ended up.
No doubt, and the wickets taken in the early going by Rishabh Shimpi to get the party rolling. Sanchit Sandhu before that getting Amogadapalli, but those two from the Shimpi over, immensely important. We'll take a look here at Adapalli, bit of a streaky boundary early on. That one a little less streaky, had a couple of lovely deflections with the face of the bat. Yuvraj Samra got into the party as well. This one driven nicely into the covers. That one picked up and whipped away off his feet. But it was Sandhu coming in, and on his very first ball. In fact, I hadn't given him credit for it here. That's another guy who struck on the first delivery or second delivery of his spell. Takes out Adapalli. Shahan Jayasuriya looking to get things going, as is Yuvraj Samra. Another one picked up. But then it was the attack dog. Rishabh Shimpi in the 5th over, strikes on his first delivery. After the Sandhu one had gone for runs despite the wicket to start it, Shimpi would be graced on this one, as it's not quite where you'd like that ball to be, but off the gloves of the new batter. Dilpreet Singh Bajwa gone for a 2-ball duck. That would bring in Raymond Reifer. And Reifer got off to a decent start, a couple of big hits. That one probably the biggest of them.
Yeah.
At the ball that that was hit by Dilpreet Bajwa, but more what you're looking for from it. This, the better executed bouncer, and that's the dismissal of Shahan Jayasuriya. And moments later, Pranay Suri would also be gone, claimed by Ali Sheikh. Obis Pinar returned to the attack. Reifer tried to take him yard, but here, the catch of the day so far. Amshi Da Silva ranging over from mid-wicket to cow corner and taking a screamer. Gary Graham would come in. He would look to launch Kamran Hotak, providing some pretty decent support here. A couple of boundaries from him as well. Hasn't batted as much this season. There's Graham rearing back, launching one, and this, that may be my favorite shot of his. We don't see him go to the offside like that quite as frequently. Usually on drives and big hits square of the wicket on the onside. Here was the Amshi Da Silva 20th over, and that wide we thought was the last ball ends up being an attempt to take a second run off the wide, but Kamran Hotak run out. That ends up being wicket number 7. They take 2 off the final ball, and to the best of our knowledge, and we'll wait for the scorecard to catch up officially, 144 for 7, target of 145 set for the chase for Kings 11 Dallas. That's what they need to stay alive here at home in Grand Prairie and take this fight to day 3 of the Super 8s. We'll be back in about 15 with that chase for you here on the MLC Network. Welcome back to Grand Prairie. Sarab Netravalkar in place to get us started here in the run chase. We do have our updates, and it's a target of 146. First ball out of the hand of Sarab to Remandar. Worked to the mid-wicket area for a dot delivery here. Joe Hickey with you, Brian Walters alongside. And I believe our scorecard just about finally up to date. It's about a ball short of it, and then we will have graphics for you on screen, but it is a target now of 146 after Silicon Valley Strikers went 145 for the loss of 7. Dar with Unmuk Chand partnering him. Sarab over the wicket, and another dot delivery to get us started.
The vaunted batting lineup of Kings 11 Dallas is under pressure. There you see on the screen. We're attempting to get the graphics back up, but back to what I was saying. They know that their backs are against the wall here. They're chasing a target that if you came in at the beginning of the day saying chase 146, you get to win, you'd probably take that. But the pressure is on. Runs are on the board, and it is going to be up to you to figure out a way to not lose wickets up front, because then that takes away the freedom of the Corey Andersons down the line to be able to play with freedom.
Now cramping Dar for a little bit of space, and that will be a third dot on the trot to get us started. And a reminder here, of course, the runs on the board looming that much larger. Lose today and your season comes to an end. You will play tomorrow, but it'll be a dead rubber for you. Spoiler at best.
Completely. And so don't think that that's not in the mind of these players who are at the wicket now. They know that they need to get off to a good start. Neither of them did much to trouble the scorers yesterday.
This one poked wide, and it'll be a quick single taken to get off strike and get Kings 11 Dallas underway. And to that point, Remandar 23 off 22. A few 4s and a 6, but nope, that is definitely the wrong information. That's not correct at all. He had 8 off 9, I think, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know what the heck I did there with my information.
Was that? What did I miss?
Yeah, I put that in the wrong cell. I'm going to get rid of this right here. I don't know what happened there. Unmuk Chand, I know for a fact, 2 off 8, caught behind. Faisal Khan Ahmadzai, the lefty, creating that angle across the wicket with a bit of reverse swing. Sarab Netravalkar, somebody in that sort of vein in terms of approach, and now facing his old captain at Silicon Valley, Unmuk Chand. Chand opens the face of the bat, splits the fielders. That will be a single, though. Deep protection was at third.
Talk about that wicket yesterday when Unmuk Chand edged to Andreas Gauss, and I said at the time, and I still believe it, that wicket had to at least be in part due to the bowling that you saw from the left-handed Carmine Leroux, because both left-arm bowlers, but Carmine Leroux bringing it back into the right-handed Unmuk Chand, and the delivery from Yusufzai going away from him, that's why he followed it.
This one smashed through the infield. Slows up a little bit, but the chase will be in vain. First boundary shot here after the earlier pair from, or rather the earlier pair of singles. Remandar's got Kings 11 truly underway. That'll end the first over here off of Netravalkar. 6 from it, 6 for no loss as we take a look at that boundary stroke from Dar.
Feel good. That will feel good. Coming off of the edge, not quite hit firmly from Remandar, but essentially you get to the point where you want to start moving along and getting that in that direction.
Gone back and checked the cards here after thinking we had something wrong and we're misremembering stuff. Now Remandar, that's 23 off 22. Shown as LBW to Paradkar. I'm trying to. I must be thinking of somebody else. There's something playing in my brain that is wrong about Remandar. There was a feeling that he somewhat gave up his wicket cheaply. House was the one though who particularly got a rush of blood to the head yesterday. Yusuf Zazai, though, on from the river end. First delivery of his spell will be bashed into the ground by Unmukt and claimed by a leaping Amog Adapali.
Well, Yusuf Zazai, you saw him yesterday. At least I saw him for the first time. Was very impressed with what I saw from him. And he's the type of bowler who I think can hurry an Unmukt Chand. Now, if you've seen Unmukt Chand over the years, plays very late, generally has a great defense, and then his attacking shots are textbook. So you'd want to think that he'd apply himself and get set for a long innings here.
That one is run off, and it's going to be a long run, but good work. Very fine edge on its way back towards third and almost directly over the head of the wicketkeeper. Flagged down neatly. That is, I think, Chris Ramsaran down there in the deep, holding that to just a single.
Excellent work. Off the bat, I thought that was going for 4.
For sure.
Fine enough. And Ramsaran making up a decent amount of room to his left. He's left-handed, so that would have helped him in that regard. But every run saved here adds greatly to the cause of defending this target. As of right now, you need 139 in 112 balls. So needing to go around 7.45 and over. Scoring already at 5.25. That's a little early to make that sort of distinction, but you have to start looking at doing exactly that, pushing on in toward that target.
Another ball run down toward third, this time from the left-hander Remandar. 2 off the first 3 against Zazai. Yesterday, the mark on the good side of his ledger was the 3 wickets. Tajinder Singh before he managed to get any sort of expression, and then Hamad Azam and what we thought was the death knell, dismissing Hassan Khan in the 19th over. The mark against his side of the ledger was the 40 runs that he conceded, and of course 12 of those coming after the immediate aftermath of that Hassan Khan wicket, the 3 hit by Zia ul Haq. That one is hit hard, but straight to the fielder in the circle, just behind point. Dot delivery here.
That's what I talk about. That shot from Unmukt Chand is a shot of class, timed beautifully, and had that been to either side of that fielder backward point, it would have raced away for 4. So he's easy on the eyes when he bats. And I keep saying that, and every once in a while I end up jinxing him, but he ends up being such a treat to watch. In the last couple of seasons, hadn't necessarily had the type of seasons that he had when he was out in Silicon Valley, but the class is there for all to see.
And not a ton of width on offer on that delivery, but makes do. Cramped a little again. He'll run this a bit shorter. That'll allow time to run the single. It will be interesting to see here. Of course, Silicon Valley have another lefty pacer in the form of Raymond Reefer. He's got a little bit different of an approach from that of Sarab Netravalkar. We've got the right arm pace here of Yusuf Zazai, and then a whole bunch of spin. Just those 3 pace bowlers. And yesterday, one of the things we noticed was that Silicon Valley ran out of pace before they got to the 20th over, and it seemed like they slightly mismanaged it. Could have used the spin a little more in the middle. That one jammed in and a dot delivery to finish. It'll just be 3 off Yusuf Zazai's first. 9 for no loss through 2. Back to Sarab Netravalkar. Little use of the feet from Chand, thinking about coming forward. Leave the bat dangling there, but nothing to it. Into the gloves of Adapali.
That moved away like an orthodox left-arm spinner. Pitching on leg stump and leaving Unmukt Chand. that will stick in the mind. Bearing in mind he was dismissed yesterday to a ball that left him, so you know that that's in the back of his mind on Mukchand.
You wonder if you may eventually see the feet a little more in motion across the stumps. You get one that nips back the other way and could square him up LBW very easily with that sort of variation. Netravalker on point again. This time targeting center stump. Good disciplined length here in the early part of his spell. Just the one boundary shot on the last delivery of his over. Otherwise 2 from the other 7 balls he's bowled. Chand looks to lift this one. Backward square is on his way to try to chase it down. A long, long run for Ramsaran, and he's not going to be able to get there.
No risk in that shot. Acres of room out there. Nobody in the deep at mid-wicket. So Mukchand, not necessarily with a big flourish, but getting enough on that bat to get it into that vacant area, and helps himself to 4 runs.
Kings 11, at least in the early going, looking to build a platform. This, we mentioned before, they have probably the most expensive bowling unit in the middle overs, but of course went against type earlier today. They are without doubt the best batting team in the middle overs, and it all comes down to giving themselves a platform they can build off of from here. Chand able to run this one back in the backward 45. Shahan Jayasuriya up with it, and a single taken by Chand. Sees off a pair of peaches from Netravalker, picks up the boundary with the riskless shot, as Brian said, and now a single to give Remandar a look at Netravalker for these last 2.
You talked about the fact that you said, and I agreed, that they mismanaged the bowling attack in yesterday's game, ending up going into the last over with Shahan Jayasuriya bowling off spin to 2 right-handed big hitters. So that formula, to me, certainly doesn't work. I want to see how Raymond Reefer manages his resources in this game with that in mind.
That one through and a swing and a miss from Remandar. It's actually a battle between 2 units that somewhat mismanaged the second innings yesterday. We saw a similar sort of thing with Kings 11. Went a bit too slow in the aftermath of losing some wickets, and very quickly saw that run rate required ballooning, and just too much for Pinar and Malhotra to get to in the late overs. So we'll see what lessons have been learned over the course of the next 17 overs and 1 ball, or however much of that ends up being necessary. Scooting forward is Dar, and he opens the face of the bat. Ramsaran back at third. So just the single there to finish. 6 off Netravalker's first, 6 more off Netravalker's second. Kings 11 Dallas through 3 overs, 15 for no loss. No changes yet in the attack. Yusuf Zazai will bowl over number 4. Zazai this season used a little bit all over. A third of his overs in the power play, a quarter of them in the middle, and the rest at the death. First delivery is claimed by fielder at mid-wicket. As Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, for the briefest of moments, thought it was number 34 and was trying to figure out who actually had the gloves, if that was Adapalli. Don't even look at the number, just look at the hat. It's definitely Dilpreet. Bajwa responsible for one of the top catches so far of the Super 8s.
Yes.
I think Amshi De Silva did him one better earlier today, but no slouch. Bouncer That one stays under head height, according to our square leg umpire, and so Raymond Dar gives him a little bit of a look. A no wide given.
No wide given because it's not over the top of Raymond Dar's head, but also no first or single one for the over. That surprises me. That appeared to be a round shoulder, head height, with umpire Owen Brown thinking that it was not. If you're a fast bowler and you bowl a bouncer and you think it should have been called as a bouncer, but they don't call it a bouncer,
here comes
that's
another bouncer.
Your advantage. Or somewhere in the next 4 balls, you get to bowl another one.
See if Yusuf takes advantage right now. Now that one a good bit fuller. Oh. That one's going to split the fielders in the circle, mid-on and mid-off, trying to converge. That will make it to the rope.
I will tell you why that's an excellent shot. As a batter, you get a short delivery like that, and you know it was not called a short delivery, so you know there's another one coming. That automatically in your mind puts you on the back foot. So you get a full ball, and you have the presence of mind to ignore the possibility of a short ball, adjust properly to the full ball, and drive down the ground. That is expert batsmanship.
Raymond Dar starting to feel himself a bit here. Both batters a run shy of a run a ball in the early going. A reminder, chasing 7.3 and over. And that required run rate up to 7.7 at the start of this over here as Azai pulls out of his run-up. Deep protection against Raymond Dar at backwards square, and one more somewhere. I suppose it must be at... oh, there he is, blending into the seats at third man. This one lifted in the direction of the backward square, but it's got way too much oomph on it, and is wide enough anyway to beat the fielder. That'll be a 6. First maximum of the innings here for Kings 11 Dallas as they look to build here in the power play.
Lovely shot. Absolutely lovely shot here by Raymond Dar. On his pads again, and you cannot bowl at a good batter's pad. Look at this replay from around the wicket, no less. Stop me if you've heard this before. The better angle is to go across the left-hander, around the wicket, going down the leg side. That adds up to trouble.
I've heard it before. I'm not stopping you. Still around the wicket from Zazai. This time much better line. Cramps him, and that's just going to roll to mid-wicket. Good comeback delivery after going for the 2 boundaries.
Certainly. And so, yes, you've been a little bit expensive. You've given up a 4 and a 6 in this over. At this point, you're not desperate yet, but you need to break this opening partnership that is now worth 25. Your responsibility is to break the partnership. But even if you don't break the partnership, it is so important that you bowl deliveries that are difficult to score off of. Again, the line for me would be more appropriate if it's over the wicket.
This one's lifted. It's going to clear Raymond Reefer, or correction, Gary Graham rather, at mid-on and find its way to the boundary. Another boundary in the over, 3 of them from Raymond Dar, worth 14 total runs. That accounts for all the scoring here in over number 4. Kings 11 Dallas 29 for no loss. We'll take another look here at that 4, and this one just not a bad line, honestly, but a bit on the short side perhaps, and put away expertly by Dar.
Certainly, if you have that same delivery from over the wicket, there's a chance of it being spooned into the covers. From around the wicket, it is sitting up and begging to be whacked down the ground. And that's what you got here from Raymond Dar.
For Silicon Valley here, this is the portion of the chase that they would most expect to make inroads in. On the season, 2nd in strike rate inside the power play. 15.7 balls per wicket. Best remaining team, I should say the best team in the league on that is Atlanta Fire. And so they are also still here. They're just not here in Grand Prairie. Out of sight, out of mind, apparently.
Yes.
But this is where they would expect to make some inroads. If they don't, that middle over's batting of Kings 11 Dallas threatens to take the chase away very, very quickly from the men in two-tone blue. The captain, Raymond Reefer, bowling his first ball from the theater end. Left arm over the wicket. Yesterday, Reefer 2 for 30, took the wickets of Syed Saad Ali, high scorer for the Chicago Kingsmen, along with Raghav Satish. Pair of dots to start here against Unmukt Chand, and this is the case for several of the players here for Silicon Valley Strikers, but certainly for Reefer as well, playing up here against his former captain. Unmukt Chand, captain of the edition of the Silicon Valley Strikers that won the 2021 championship and went to Morrisville for the Pacific Conference final in 22. Reefer part of the latter of those as Chand gets the better of the new captain for the Strikers, runs that one elegantly backwards of point, and another 4 here for UC.
That will help Unmukt Chand. Don't know necessarily that he would be low in confidence, but he has not gotten many runs in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, as we said yesterday, congratulations to him and his family. He's a new father. But as it relates to this activity on the ground, hasn't really troubled the scorers a lot. That shot is a shot of class and one that you know that he's proud of.
I don't know if Simran, his wife, is around, or Kavisha, for that matter, Shahan Jayasuriya's partner. This one's going to be another dot delivery. So far, that's all Reefer's done besides that 4. The two of them, though, part of welcoming me to minor league cricket as it worked out. I sat with the two of them as Shahan and Unmukt worked I believe it ended up being a 114-run partnership, and I don't think the two of them ever sat down during it. They were just pacing the whole time when their men were out in the center. But just lovely folks, and if you are here in Grand Prairie, would love to have the opportunity to see you if you're tuned in. Go ahead and drop me a line on Instagram. Leg side wide here as Reefer gets a little too much motion in the air on a delivery that was already targeting leg stump.
So Reefer has brought himself on. Don't know necessarily that he is the attack dog that Rishabh Shimpi is, but he's playing a similar role here.
Hard length, but worked away towards the offside, just wide of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. That'll be a single here. 6 so far off the over, 1 ball left as they'll have to re-bowl the wide from earlier.
Runs needed 1-1-1. You like symmetry.
Well, I like Nelson hunting.
Nelson hunting.
See, that's the sort of curse that can happen without the aid of a commentator.
This is true. So they wouldn't necessarily need you on this one.
Dar lifts this one to an area where no one is patrolling, taking advantage of the deep protection being largely on the onside. And a 4 to finish off here, so a pair of boundaries on either side of a single and a wide. It'll be 10 off of Reefer's first over of work. Kings 11 Dallas through 5, 39 for no loss.
.39 without loss, but importantly, 30 of those 39 have come in the last 3 overs. So you started out relatively circumspectly, but this pair is starting to build something special, at least from their perspective, you would think. And it is going to be the spin of Cameron Hotak, who we saw yesterday, to take over. Single to Unmukt Chand to start over number 6.
And Cameron came in late in the power play as well yesterday. Took 1 for 21. It was Ramiz Raja that he dismissed. And it just hit me, Ramiz Raja is who I was thinking of when we were talking about Raymond Dar. That was the wicket that was given away a little bit on the stumping, and it happened against Silicon Valley, but not for Kings 11. That's where my mind went sideways earlier.
Well, one's 21 years old, the other's about 35. They look nothing alike. I can see how you'd make that mistake.
I think it's just the R's. They're very far away. I do not know them personally yet.
Over the top, Remandar, who has been one of the leading batters in the side all season, is now starting to look like he's up to the challenge. Going down the ground for 4.
He's already cleared his total from yesterday, the 23 off 22, and has done it in just 17 deliveries. And certainly this year against lefty spinners, goes at a decent strike rate, 126. He does tend to get out a lot to it, though. Just 11 balls per dismissal. High risk, high reward for him.
So it's interesting because this pair, now 45-run partnership to start, said earlier, I think I told that to you yesterday, that the opening pair of Remandar and Unmuk Chand averaged somewhere around 85 at the beginning of the season. Haven't necessarily been getting the results that they wanted in that department recently, but if you're going to have this partnership or this chase be successful, it starts out with this pair setting the target, setting the table at the top of the lineup.
No, absolutely. You want House and Anderson to be able to come in particularly without much fear of maybe sucking up a few deliveries to get their eye in, not having to attack right from the word go, because you know once those two are set,
game over.
Pretty much.
Ooh. A little bit of yes, no, but finally they end up with a single. 8 runs coming from over number 6. End of the power play. 99 runs needed from the next 84 balls. 47 without loss. Raymond Reefer back into the attack to bowl his second over. Bowling to a pair here, Joe Hickey, that appears to have weathered the storm to start the innings and are thinking about putting their team in a better position to take victory here.
No, absolutely, and I think they'll be looking to accelerate just a little bit here. Not a full-on slam the pedal to the metal sort of thing, but able to take those quick singles and doubles with a little bit more freedom with the field spread out, and then look for those balls they can put away. Figure they're working their way up towards roughly a third. Actually, I think already almost just about a third of the target necessary here inside the power play.
Which is excellent. Of course, outside of the power play since you're a couple of deliveries into over number 7. But with 10 wickets in hand, the required rate 7.1, 7.2, that's about where you want to be here. And that alone, the approach that you've taken so far is absolutely working. Tell you what, Unmuk Chand gets one that any other day he would have put away for 4. It goes straight to short, fine leg. They'll get a single, but he might consider himself unlucky there, Unmuk Chand, that didn't go away for 4.
At this point, what Kings 11 Dallas would in all likelihood be feeling is lucky that they've sustained themselves through the strength of the Silicon Valley attack. We mentioned earlier here that the strikers this season way up there in terms of strike rate, second in all of MILC. They do not take a wicket here inside the power play. And not for the striker, or for Dallas having been particularly circumspect either. Dallas going faster than they even normally do inside the power play. They average about 43 runs for the loss of a wicket. Already sitting here and bringing up the 50 partnership and the 50 overall on that single off the hand of Raymond Reefer.
You are looking to defend, for want of a better expression, home territory. And you're starting out in a manner here as Unmuk Chan goes over the top of extra cover for at least a couple. You're starting to get yourself in the position where you're feeling more and more comfortable. Partnership to start the innings now worth 52. Only another 94 needed from the next 79 balls. In modern day cricket, that's nothing. And you have 10 wickets in hand.
Yeah, at the moment, without a flurry of wickets, it is hard to see a path forward for Silicon Valley. I know we're still relatively early days in the chase, but this is well beyond the best case scenario for Kings 11.
Short delivery. Interestingly, there's two men in the deep. Shehan Jayasuriya just fielded that one, and there's Pranay Surya at deep square leg. Unmuk Chan recognizing that, just paddling it around the corner, not playing the full-blooded pull. He recognizes the need to bat deep. End of over number 8. Make that over number 7. The score is 53 without loss. So you're into over number 8. Cameron Hotak will bowl his second. Raymond Reefer, 2 overs, none for 16. But for me, the story so far is the approach taken by Unmuk Chand and Raymond Dar. Good partnership to start out proceedings here for the Kings 11 Dallas.
Well, and generally they have the sort of attack when you're trying to, or I should say opening partnership rather, that when you're trying to attack them as a bowling unit, it's the kind that gives you headaches.
Launched down the ground, Unmuk Chan. Did he get all of it? It went all the way for 6.
And there, just a little bit of what I'm talking about. Unmuk Chan striking at 174 on the season against lefty spin, and absolutely hammers that one. A delightful on drive, a lot of air under it, but plenty of gas in the tank.
You don't mind him trying to tempt Unmuk Chand into a rash stroke, tossing it up. You don't mind that. But if you toss it up, it can't land in the slot. This lands exactly where Unmuk Chand wants to drive it. Doesn't need to move his feet to get to the pitch. Goes flatter, quicker, not a very surprising adjustment there. But scoring is now feeling like it's coming a lot easier. 60 runs on the board, just another 86 to go from 75 balls. Required rate under 7, Joe Hickey.
And as I was starting to make the point of before Chand interrupted me with that with that launch to over long on, I was saying though he's had his success very much against left arm spin, and the man at the crease right here has lost his wicket rather frequently to lefty spinners. If you want to go the other way and try to go for what might dismiss Chand, off spin has been the way to go about that this season. The problem is that's where Dar has his highest strike rate. And so I've seen this over the years, the David White-Saideep Ganesh partnership in East Bay one year, I think it was in 22, but for my money the best in that league. And it was amazing when I started breaking it out by bowler type how much it came down to one batter being good at what would dismiss the other one, and you're just left wondering how to attack that partnership at all.
What surprises me about that set of statistics that you just ran through is that you would think that off spin would be a strength of Unmuk Chand's and a weakness of Raymond Dar's. Raymond Dar going down the ground, and that is absolutely going to be 6. Lovely strike. Lofted drive down the ground for 6. That closes out over number 8. 15 come from it. 68 without loss. Using the feet. Look how straight that bat is. That is out of the textbook.
Well, and you mentioned the use of the feet on that one. Just talking earlier about if you flight it, can't put it in the slot. That wouldn't have been, except our made it in the slot.
See, obviously, you try to let him hold the pose. That is spectacular. But what you're trying to do is to at least make it challenging. There has to be some element of risk to play a big shot. So if you're playing a big shot, you dance down the track, and that certainly puts you in a difficult position if you miss it. Now, change of bowling. Christopher Amsaran, am I right?
That is right. It's the unique option here, the left arm wrist spinner. Gave up just 3 runs in his 1 over, and I think you and I both believed probably should have seen more action in the middle overs there, if for no other reason than to give them a little more pace to spend at the end.
I completely agree with that, and it's not just you and me. I spoke to a good friend yesterday who was watching the game, and he was of the opinion that, oh my goodness, you have a left arm wrist spinner. How can you just give him 1 over? An over that went for 3 runs. It would feel that there'd be many opportunities to give Christopher Amsaran a 3 or 4 over burst in the middle overs.
Am I remembering, though, that friend of yours is Trinidadian? So maybe just a little bit of bias? Not saying he's not right. Just a little bit of bias.
Boy, just go open up all the secrets there. Why don't you, Mr. Joe Hickey?
How many islands can we name drop over the course of...
Well, we're working on... right now you have Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad all on the same team. Should be a couple runs here, I would think. Both of them are very quick. Oh, I'll tell you what, though. They choose to not take on the fielder in the deep. So things are feeling very easy here. Easy might be too strong a word, but it feels like they're batting to a plan. And again, the longer this partnership goes, then the more freedom that the batters who come afterwards, the Corey Andersons and the Andrea Houses and the Obus Pinars and the Alice Sheiks, the more freedom they can play with when they come in. So that is a dot that closes out over number 9, 70 without loss. Shehan Jayasuriya, I believe, is going to be bringing his off breaks. And he'll be bowling to the left-handed Raymond Dar. Going back to the stat that you just said, Joe Hickey, I really am interested in hearing your thoughts about this bowling change.
As I said, if you're interested in trying to get rid of Unmuk Chan, this has been the move this season. A little bit surprising because certainly conventionally you would say he's in there for Dar. But Raymond Dar has struck at over 130 against off spin this season, so more or less comfortable with it. We have talked a bit, though, about how Obus is almost a lefty medium pacer at times, given the way he bowls. Shehan has this slingy action and really does hurry it up there pretty frequently as an offie.
Single down the ground, Raymond Dar. Maybe perhaps showing some evidence of what you just highlighted, his comfort level against off spin, which again is counterintuitive given that the ball is leaving him. But this now becomes interesting, turning the ball into Unmuk Chan, but as the stats that you're quoting suggest, counterintuitively again, he's weaker with the ball turning into him.
Yeah, 96 strike rate, 13 balls per dismissal. Shehan will be looking to get rid of his old mate.
Well, that won't help. Fired down the leg side. Free runs here. Should get 2 free runs. In fact, 3 free runs. Try saying that 3 times fast. And not a legal delivery, and so 3 runs added to your total there. That gets you past the halfway stage. You have 74 runs on the board. You need 72 more to win in the next 64 balls. Required rate down to 6.75. Batting with responsibility here, Unmuk Chand. He's now up to 29 from 28. Raymond Dar, 42 from 29. Opening partnership now worth 75 and counting.
That's right about that average that you were quoting earlier for these two, so nothing new, but impressive to see in person for the first time, I'll say that.
Do they look for 2? No, they will not look for 2. But it all just feels very easy to this pair at the moment. 2 balls remaining before you're at the halfway stage of the innings. And just another 70 needed. 70 in 10 overs is meat and drinks for modern players. And with 10 wickets in hand, you'd certainly want to favor their opportunity to go on to get this win if you're a Kings 11 Dallas supporter. Single down the ground here by Unmuk Chand.
Well, I know you said earlier that easy might have been an overstatement, but I would go with stress-free to this point. Really haven't been threatened by much of anything to this point. A little bit of discomfort with the use of Zazai overs perhaps, but few good Netravalkar deliveries, but no real scares.
They're looking for 2. They're looking for 2. And they will get to. Pranay Suri gets to it, but not in time. Another productive over. 9 runs coming from it at the halfway stage in terms of the overs remaining. 7-9 without loss. And we will have, in fact, have an official drinks break. So we will take that break along with the players when we come back. This opening pair of Raymond Dar and Unmuk Chand will be looking to knock off another 67 runs in the next 60 balls.
Few looks at the highlights here from the first half of the innings, and not a lot to like for the men in two-tone blue. It's been all Kings 11 Dallas, Raymond Dar and Unmuk Chand putting on a display. Dar there with that beautiful pickup backwards of square and then nearly holding the pose. He would hold it legitimately a little bit later. Unmuk Chand, classy play behind himself with the cuts of a very late delivery. The LA Knight Riders lid, but no California love from Unmuk Chand there today. And there was the one, Raymond Dar, the straight drive for the full complement of 6 runs, and we will see Chris Ramsaran continuing on from the racecourse end. First delivery by mistake here. I missed it because of the highlights on the on here. A 6 to start. Apologies. Goodness gracious! I was looking at all of that. And we got a slight delay on our monitor, so thought for the briefest of moments that I still had time. Heard some clapping. Thought they were just excited about Ramsaran staying in the game. Enough about how the sausage is made. Ramsaran back in. First ball of his to be rigorously attacked, and that's going to be another boundary stroke as it is put wide, or rather fine, of third. Unmuk Chand starting with a pair of balls to the rope. He has been the metronome at one side as Raymond Dar has expressed himself, and it looks like fresh out of drinks. Unmuk wants to get to be part of the party.
40 from 31, Unmuk Chand. That's as much as he's scored in a while. Certainly better than yesterday. And that shot, it was very fine. He plays the late cut shot again. But going back to the previous shot, played it very late, played it very fine. As fine as the ball went, it almost looked like it came off the edge, but it didn't. He opened the face intentionally and got it that fine of Gary Graham at short third for 4.
I will say, when I was a brand new cricket fan, that was probably the toughest thing for me to spot. I understood bowling pretty quick. I felt like batsmanship and that sort of thing couldn't tell the difference for a long while. And, you watch Kane Williamson for long enough and you start to get the idea. Single here off this follow-up delivery. Ramsaran's first went for just 2. But Unmuk Chand victimizing him a bit more here, and he'll be back on strike after the back-to-back singles following those boundaries. Kings 11 may be thinking a little bit as well about net run rate, as that is another one that will split the gap, and nobody in the deep at third, a third boundary of the over.
I had the exact same thought, because after this game, somebody will be 1 win and 2 losses, or 1 win and 1 loss. And maybe the separation comes if you say multiple teams end up with the same record with points. Or with the same record, they'll have the same points. But the separation will come with net run rate. So winning this game very quickly is to your advantage if you're the Kings 11 side.
Quick attempt at the run out, but easily back in is Raymond Dar. And that will be the end of an expensive over. The first one after drinks is going to go for a whopping 17. And Kings 11 Dallas now sitting at 96 for no loss through 11. .50 still required. The run rate required under a run a ball at this point. And so desperate times for Silicon Valley. They're going to go a little earlier than usual back to Yosef Zazai and spend his third over here in the middle. Took 3 wickets yesterday, and we were just talking a little bit about the scenarios coming out of today's match and why Kings 11 might really want to start thinking about that net run rate aspect. Your late game here is going to put somebody at 2-0 and somebody else at 1-1 tied with Kings 11 if they finish this chase off. Nice diving attempt in the circle to keep it there, but it will still be a single. Suri not quite able, or rather a double, scurries away just enough from Prane for them to take that second run. Get a little more of the palm behind that, it might have been a dot. Instead, 2 more to the total here for Kings 11.
4 to 8 needed. 53 balls remaining, so as you rightly point out, that's less than a run a ball. Net run rate may be what is driving this approach right now.
That one's airborne, and it's going to be wide of the fielder at mid-wicket. Another 4 runs, and in style, the 100 partnership up. And the 50 on top of that for Unmuk Chand. And a little while ago, who would have expected him to beat Raymondar to that milestone? But Unmukt has absolutely been taking to the bowlers since the drinks break just 8 balls ago.
I'll tell you what, wry smile on Unmuk Chand's face, because again, he's been short of runs recently, but really looking the part after this water break.
Follow-up delivery is going to be worked to mid-wicket. I misspoke earlier. That was not too wide of mid-wicket. That was fine of cover sweeper earlier, an offside stroke.
Kings 11 Dallas looked very defeated. They were actually defeated yesterday, and the body language said that they were defeated. And I was watching them walk in today, and I still got that same sense of almost fatalism about the way that they were approaching things. But this opening partnership and their position in this game overall would have buoyed them completely.
Swing and a miss, a big appeal for a caught behind, but nothing coming from the umpire behind the stumps.
Well, if the keeper collects it and does not appeal, and short cover runs in appealing, don't expect the umpire Aditya Gajar to give that.
Yeah, and if anybody's going to hear the nick, it should be the guy with the gloves.
It'd be the guy who caught it right behind the stumps. So obviously we're this far away, so we didn't necessarily hear anything, nor did we see any deviation from this distance, but I don't think that there is any way that would have been given.
Dar survives here, 46 from 33 for him. Lifts that one, and a long, long run for backward square. They won't get it, and that'll be the 50 up for Raymondar.
So both batters get into the 50s. The efforts by one Joe Hickey to jinx both of them have failed spectacularly. In fact, he did not even bother trying to jinx them today. Mr. Hickey, well done to you, sir.
I almost missed Unmukt getting there, to be perfectly honest. I was so focused on the 100 coming up and the 100 partnership, and looked down and, oh, that's right. That's right. No, for Raymondar there, that is a 5th 50 here in minor league cricket. For Unmuk Chand, 16th score over 50. That one looking at a... Is that a no ball being signaled?
It is a no ball, and the reason why it's a no ball, it's a short delivery. The second one above... Wait. It's signaled initially as wide by umpire Aditya Gajar because it's the second short ball over shoulder height. It's adjudged to be a no ball. Again, you're allowed one. If you get that one, whatever happens with that ball, you still bowled one. So if you bowl another one in that same over, it is a no ball. Good call.
So forced now to re-bowl this final delivery of the 12th over as Azai goes for the Yorker, dug out by Raymondar and shot toward a square leg. And a single from that. That's going to be 13 runs off over number 12. Kings 11 Dallas well and truly in command and looking to see how fast they can get this chase done and dusted. 109 for no loss. .48 balls left, but just 37 left to get for Kings 11 Dallas to claim victory on the day. It would be the end of the competitive season for Silicon Valley. For Kings 11, they'll be deeply invested in tonight's game. They'll be certainly hoping that Chicago Kingsmen can come through with the victory. That would give them the chance to deliver a first loss in the Super 8s to Kingsmen and get level on points, and it would deny Blazers the ability to get over on points, and that is going to be a step in the wrong direction as the partnership is broken. On the first delivery of the over from Shehan Jayasuriya, an early thrown sweep shot, and unable to make contact with it is Raymondar, and he's headed to the shed.
Yeah, Raymondar perhaps maybe with an eye toward an advantageous position from a run rate standpoint. Looking to sweep a straight ball, you play across a straight ball at your peril. Looking at this replay from around the wicket, yes, it grips and turns and is hitting the top of middle is what I would think. Remandar dismissed second consecutive day for a leg before. This time he didn't tap the thigh pad. He just sort of sat and waited for umpire Owen Brown to make his decision. Did not go the way he wanted it to Remandar, but that is the end of him. But huge opening partnership. Is it a match-winning partnership? We'll find out shortly.
For Jahan Jayasuriya, his second wicket of the season, both of them against lefty batters. So the conventional wisdom stands up here. Dar doesn't smash him, he hits the shed. Chand, on the other hand, has had delight against just about everybody, sitting at 53 off 37. He remains at the non-strikers end. Andres Jose in at 3. And he'll take the first delivery he faces from the Sri Lankan offie to mid-wicket for a single. Jose off the mark.
If you wanted to look toward the end of this match with considerations for net run rate calculations, you can do worse than having Andres Jose face up to a right-handed off-spinner.
Yeah, he's generally been pretty destructive against that. Hasn't faced much of it this season as Chand works the next one to almost the same spot. This one might sit long enough to let them run a pair. They will do so. Throw is down to Shahan's end and not in time. Yeah, he hasn't faced much, and honestly, much spin from right-handers at all. But on the season, ungodly against righty spin. 39 off 11 balls, offies and leggies combined. 5 6s, 1 4, 1 dot delivery.
The other day in the eliminator between the Kings 11 Dallas and the Metroplex Tracers, he scored, to my memory, 5 6s down the ground, 5 6s against spinners, leg and off spinners. A couple where he went off the back foot and went straight down the ground. Tremendous ball striking from Andres Jose.
Thinking about trying to take a quick single, but no reason to risk at this juncture. Yeah, anytime I've seen Jose really get his eye in an innings, and I've seen it in person a few times on the West Coast when he was with Seattle. Display is the word that comes to mind for me. It is an absolute display. It's a clinic. Chand will work that to the empty area in front of long off. And a single to finish off, I believe, to finish off the over. Have some issues at the moment again with the scorecard, but 1-13 for 1. As we reach the end of the 13th over, the first wicket does fall, but Kings 11 still in good shape. 34 required, rather 33 off of 42. No time like the present. Why hold back Saurabh Netravalkar? He's in here for over number 14. He's going to run a ball in his first 2 overs, 8 of those coming on a pair of 4s. He'll look to face down Unmukt Chand. Andres Jose at the other end, somebody he's taken on, whether it's in MLC in MLC they're teammates actually, come to think of it, both Washington Freedom players. Taking him on in the Western Division back when Jose played for Seattle. This one pounded into the ground. They'll take the quick single, maybe a second now as it gets underneath Raymond Reefer. And Brian, you've been talking about body language this whole time, and that was a rather dejected look from the Silicon Valley captain after that one gets away from him.
You don't want to what's the phrase? It's not over till the indelicately. Let's just say it's not finished yet. I'll leave it there.
Good on you to pull out of that run-up there. Nicely done.
I missed my run-up and I had to go back to my mark.
Looking for the edge there as Chand swings and misses, pounding into the gloves of Adapalli.
But with just 31 runs left to play with, all of 40 balls in hand and 9 wickets in hand, your win predictor would certainly be around 98-2 at this stage. Does that mean that 2% sometimes wins in that scenario? It does. But it feels like it's less about whether or not the Kings 11 Dallas will win this game and more about what over the game will be finished in.
That'll split a gap on the offside. Sweeper cover is over to claim it, but 2 runs off that delivery as well. Okay, we're almost at Dumb and Dumber Lloyd Christmas territory. So you're telling me there's a chance?
So you're saying that there's a chance. And by the way, we do want to highlight, got a note that Unmuk Chand has dedicated this 50 to his young son, Krishay. Krishay, who was just born last week. Congratulations to Unmuk Chand. We'll see Krishay on this cricket field probably, 9 years from now?
Something like that. Heaven knows Unmuk got his start very, very young playing high-level cricket, under 19 captain. Single worked there, and again, Unmuk against his former teammate Sarab Netravalkar, picking up the runs. He moves into the 60s. Down to 28 required at this point off 38. Yeah, it's a whole different level, too, when it's not just a question of, you're going to lose the match today, but also knowing this is it for your season. You're going to face off with the East Bay Blazers, try and break a rough run you've had against them. Another one just out of the reach of Raymond Reefer. That's a very long run for sweeper cover. Pranay Suri is going to get there, and he's going to kick it over the rope.
That is, in a nutshell, what you're looking at here from the Silicon Valley Strikers. Pranay Suri had a long run, got there, got down, picked it up, then kicked it over the rope for a boundary. So that is 1 ball remaining here in over number 14, but already 9 runs on the board and another 24 runs separating the Kings 11 Dallas from an emphatic victory.
Yeah, that one there, where if your house, you're feeling pretty good about picking up a pair off of that. You don't think that's going to be worth the full 4. Again, trying to get it past Reefer. This time around, a little slower on the carpet. It'll just be a single. That'll be 10 runs off the Netravalkar over. Certainly not the desired impact when you're bringing back Sarab here before the death. Kings 11 Dallas, 123 for 1, 23 runs away from victory. Shehan Jayasuriya, the man that's taken the only wicket of today's encounter, back on from the theater end. First delivery is going to get pad on Andres Jose. Brief, half-hearted appeal. Nothing doing there. For sure going down the leg side. Jayasuriya working quickly. That next delivery is scorched, but it's on a hop to the deep man at long off.
He plays that shot off the back foot with so much power, Andreas Jose. Look at that. His weight, his transfer is back. On his back foot, still powering it down the ground like that.
Yeah, it's all trunk and arms at that point.
Oh.
Chand does well to play that one from out in front of himself, and he'll get it wide of fine leg. That is headed to the boundary for another 4 runs. Unmuk Chand to 65.
2 straight. Unmuk Chand just helping himself to free runs, essentially free runs, because fine leg is inside the circle. You cannot bowl that line with fine leg inside the circle. Not that you'd ever want to incentivize a sweep shot that fine anyway, but if it's going down the leg side, essentially you're begging for trouble, and that's what you got there from that shot with Mukchand.
Very similar ball. This time Surrey gets a hand to it. It'll just be a single. Required runs dropping it to 17. And tonight's game is going to have just an interesting setup. If the Blazers win it, they have the chance to go 3-0 and beat a rather dejected Silicon Valley team and take their trip to Morrisville. As House has lifted off. Oh my goodness! Onto the roof. I think I just did my best Brian Walters impression there with the oh my goodness. Can't be around that for too long without getting some of it on you. Rocking back and crushing that ball.
That is what I have referred to a number of times today. Look at his weight transfer here. It is on the back foot. How do you generate that much pace or that much strength down the ground from your back foot? That is tremendous, and it is all power. It is all timing. Andreas House knocking that one on the top of the Major League Cricket stand. I'll tell you what, yes, there is a chance, all the disclaimers that you need to say, but this game is absolutely all but done for Kings 11 Dallas.
Yeah, just 11 required, 2 more of those, and it's lunchtime here in Grand Prairie. Shahan Jayasuriya, he's looking for another one.
Yes,
this time coming forward. Goodness gracious. 13 off the over, nearly half of them coming off of a House bomb. Right back over the head of Shahan Jayasuriya and onto the roof of the Major League Cricket building down behind the batter's eye. 136 for 1, 10 more needed for Kings 11 Dallas to keep their season alive.
Andreas House on strike. Off the back foot again for 6 more. This game, ladies and gentlemen, will not get out of this over if Andreas House has anything to say about it. 4 more needed for victory.
It doesn't matter what you throw up there against him when he's hitting like this. 20 off 8. Sort of cameo that you usually get excited about, that sort of quick start from somebody maybe in at 7 late in a run chase, but do it here and just end all hope for Silicon Valley. Bordering on cruel.
And I mentioned it earlier. The start that you got from Remandar and Unumukchand is what set the platform for Andreas House to come out and play like this. Off the back foot again, down the ground, 4 more. That is the end of a successful chase for the Kings 11 Dallas. Unfortunately, it is the end of the competitive season for the Silicon Valley Strikers. They will play a dead rubber match tomorrow. But how about the late order hitting or the late innings hitting by Andreas House to take victory for his team by the margin of 9 wickets?
We get one last look at the game-winning hit, just a small step backwards to make room for the hands to come through. And Andres House, 24 off 9. And what a difference. You were saying before, the platform set, he's able to come in and attack immediately and just dust off the end of this target. And as a result, we'll see it updated in a little bit here, but a massive jump in net run rate for Kings 11 Dallas. And how important could that be? They're in a situation where, especially if Kingsmen win this evening, they would go into a match with Chicago, able to get level with them with a win. Blazers would be able to do no better than 2-1. That would move them into a 3-way tie. And points table, unfortunately, not populating. There is some oddness on the Crick Club's version of it, but I think we got Brian poking away at his computer here to provide us with some numbers, so we should have those shortly. But a look here at the match summary, if we can get that down to take a look at the Kings 11 batting card. It is a rather short one. In fact, yeah, the Kings 11 batting card is on the match summary because only 3 batters batted.
Right.
Unmuk Chand, 66 for 47, 16th time he's gotten over the 50 mark here in MILC. Raymond Dar, 5th time over 50. He departed just after that to Shahan Jayasuriya, who took the only wicket of the run chase, and that just opened the door for Andres House to just start bashing the ball to all parts.
Well, that's what you need from an Andres House. Without belaboring the point, this team is constructed in such a way that the openers set the tone, get a good partnership, and then the batters who come afterwards play with freedom. If you get early wickets, then that takes them away from their strength, and you struggle. You saw that against the East Bay Blazers. No such thing happening here today. Victory by the margin of 9 wickets for Kings 11 Dallas.
And indeed, the table that has been updated on Crick Clubs, I don't know if we can get it on screen, but .584 now the net run rate for Kings 11, .750 for East Bay, and we do indeed have that available to us here. That is a little rough, actually. I think we might want to take that down. That's from last season.
Yep.
For a split second, I thought that there was still remnants on Crick Clubs of the one that was posted when we thought we were going to have one member of every division represented. But what we do have now is Kings 11 level with Chicago and East Bay Blazers on points at 2. And on net run rate, it's currently East Bay at .75, Kings 11 .58, and Chicago Kingsmen .45. So we may have... Well, I'll say this much. If the Blazers do lose today, we may have a team trying to annihilate a club that has had its season ended.
Few highlights. Unmuk Chand and Raymond Dar with the start. I am looking for one particular shot. I love that one down the ground. It's coming from Raymond Dar in about the next couple. That one was one of them, but the one down the ground for 6 is, I think, the shot of the day for me. Love the little bit of shuffle there, even though it was off the edge. But I think he looked really good. Not quite the one. It's coming, and I'm filibustering until I see it. This might be it. Oh, that is it right there. Absolutely lovely. And then Unmuk Chand coming to the party, putting some runs on the board and scoring a 50 for his young son, Crochet. You absolutely like that. And ultimately taking victory. Andres House coming in at the end after the fall of the 1 wicket. Raymond Dar was dismissed. You'll see him here still batting on, but he's dismissed here with the sweep shot. I think hitting the top of middle stump there for umpire, or in the eyes of umpire Owen Brown. But that only cleared the way for Andres House to do what he does off the back foot. Look at this next one, just launching it down the ground. Here's the big one. Up. See that here in a minute. Oh, lost it there, but trust me, it was a lovely shot down the ground. Andres House doing what he does, and Kings 11 Dallas taking victory by the margin of 9 wickets and helping themselves out from a net run rate standpoint. So that appears to be the end of the game. Joe Hickey, later on this afternoon, who do we have? Remind me.
We have got the Chicago Kingsmen facing off with the East Bay Blazers, the 2 teams that won yesterday, the 2 teams that won their divisions this season, and of course a rematch of the 2024 final. Absolutely licking our chops for it. Somebody is going to go into pole position for that spot in Morrisville this evening, and I am just as excited as anybody to find out who. We'll be back with you for that one at 6 p.m. Central Time here. For Brian Walters and for Hassan at the controls, Joe Hickey signing off. We'll see you at 6.